Well, none of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Children have to go back to the roots, yeah. None of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Children have to go back to the roots. I'm telling you now, the truth, the truth. Telling you, yeah, the truth, the truth. You have to go back to the roots, the roots. Go to the roots, to the roots. Yeah, man, you know, this is Benjamin out of the Smiling Coast, West Africa, Gambia, representing for the one and only Abu, the big man you don't know, the Soninke warrior, the man that brings the truth, Soninke warrior, the sign of enlightenment, the Soninke warrior, the righteous and the true African. Abu, reveal the truth to them, you know, no matter how them try run from it, because none of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Yes, we have to dig back the roots, yeah. Fire!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Afridamus Report. I want to welcome all of you to today's Saturday's edition of the Afridamus Report. The topic we're going to be tackling here today is, are most Africans naturally docile when it comes to dealing with different groups of people? So today I'm going to break that down from what when I say we, if you are an African, for instance, growing up in an African country, we all know certain tribes have, certain interactions with Europeans or outside groups. But before I get into the long monologue here, I want to welcome all of you to the Afridamus Report. If you're new here, please like and subscribe to the channel. If you enjoy participating in discussions, meaning you would be objective, be free to express what your point of view is, but you have to do it with, clean the language, because it's a family show, you see. I understand some people get emotional, especially when Africans come together and you add Western blacks to that. That's like gasoline right there. People are touchy. And I understand this is a touchy subject. I'm sure many of you have heard, oh, see with your eye, where certain Africans from certain regions, or where you're from whatsoever, they play certain roles. Because I did some research on different groups, in East Africa, in West Africa, Central, because I understand, like, in my part of Africa, the Europeans interacted more with certain group because tribes are located in certain regions. My tribe didn't have interactions with Europeans because we're inland. So we didn't interact with Europeans. But I also know the Europeans colonizing Africa and the system we have today favored, smaller tribes and tribes that tend to be more docile. So is this natural for some groups? It's not an insult where you see a whole bunch of people together, people can do anything they want unto them and nothing comes of it. Is that just nature? Is that how humans are programmed to be? Certain tribes behave certain way. So when I moved to America, in America here, the standard The way Americans, categorize human beings is different, believe it or not. This is why I find it very amazing when I see, especially in this internet age, when people are having conversations with Americans from other places. Because I remember when I first moved to America, the way things are set up, um, who is who, how they describe certain behaviors. I mean, it was weird. So sometimes I can see where an American, especially a black person in America, because let's be real, I'm sure some people are going to come here and say, oh, no, you don't know what you're talking about. Most black people in America, when they come in contact with you, they are programmed to think that every black person they see, they are related to, like they have similar experience. And once you get to know the history, you would understand why. So it's not a bad thing because, people like to, be in their feelings touchy and try to flip things, because if you are programmed to think in the negative every single time, it will be hard for you to take the obvious and break it down and see what's in the middle. Because the nucleus, that's where the answer is. So that's what I'm doing. So they would think, for instance, let's say a new immigrant, right? African, could come from a tribe that's not docile, right? In America, comes in contact. They're new, sees a black American. Hey, what's up, black man? And the person is like, oh no, I am not black. So this black was like, man, this African's lost his goddamn mind. He said he ain't black. But what the person is saying doesn't mean his skin color is not black. So these two people are, their communication is broken because the African, where the African came from, wasn't socializing in terms of color. Everybody is black. So the African is looking at America's breakup like tribes. You have the white tribe and you have the black tribe. So maybe this person is thinking, you thought he was one of your tribesmen. So he's trying to clear the air to say, oh, no, 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 I'm not black. Doesn't mean his skin is not black. He's thinking you thought he's part of your tribe. I know some people are going to come here and try to say, oh, no, it's not like that. No, because see, I analyze things, I observe them, I look deep, within, I look at the communication, how it's happening. Because, I told you guys here, I went to the 13th grade in America, 13th and 14th grade. For some, I mean, what do you mean by 13th grade? Anything, after high school, to college. Some call it college. So in these colleges, I've taken classes where, like I've taken a philosophy class, psychology class, and these are the interesting classes because what are they doing? They are talking about human nature. This is what they are doing. Oh, good morning, Eris. They're talking about human nature. So the things that you don't want to hear, because some people think, oh no, now they don't talk about this because you didn't go to the 13th grade. How would you know? They're talking about this in the 13th grade. While you're over there arguing with people, it's written in books. They are discussing this. So I found it interesting that over in Africa, where I came from, we identified as tribes. But here in America, when they brought the Africans, because you tend to hear Black American would say to Africans, you guys didn't come get us. So they're thinking in terms of Black, like this general Black term, not realizing these people, just like today's Africans like me and a Kenyan person. Even they might say, oh, the white man called it Kenya. Well, the land existed still. It could have been Kenya, it could have been Kumbisale, it could have been Jimara. The land is still there. The name changed, right? The people are the same, the nature is the same. So remember, for most of Africa, many Africans are not, they cannot read or write. So that means African cultures, most of them are intact. The people, if you compare the civilization to the Western civilization, it's probably like 200 years behind for most of it. So my point is, the culture is well maintained. So if you are not from somebody else's tribe, for instance, you didn't go to school, right? You always speak your language. Your resources come from your people. That doesn't mean you don't trade with other people, but the tribe, my point is your identity. So when those Africans who were brought here into slavery, they came from different tribes, different regions. So cannot be any such thing as your Africans didn't come get us. Like the Ghanaian Ashantis are not gonna come claim me, for instance, because I'm not Ashanti and I will not be claiming it. Like I won't be going back with them. So that's how it happened. Okay, people were removed, like the tribal identity was removed from those Africans. What do I mean by that? People from the same regions, they don't put them in the same plantations because they'll be able to communicate and revolt because it's happened in other islands, other places. But if they are not from the same region, they will have to eventually struggle and speak the master's language, the common language, right? So within a generation or two, their culture and language was mostly wiped out. But that doesn't mean still their nature, the African nature, changed. I mean, of course, some's nature have changed because I've been mixed with Europeans and others. So some are definitely uh, European in black skin or brown skin because even it's not about the skin, it's the psychology here, the mentality. So in Africa, we already, like I said, we have those boundaries. We have those boundaries. Like you would even read in the white people's book, they would say it there where when they came to Africa, you would see there's a certain tribe that they interacted with. There's a certain tribe they interacted with. Sometimes, if this tribe is docile, they would take over and be subjugated. If this tribe are a warring tribe, then this is why you would read about these tribes fighting hard against the Europeans. It wasn't a united front. Okay, let me give you an example. The Ashantis, they are a warring tribe. When the Europeans came, um, if I say European is broad, they've been dealing with Europeans for years. But let's say in the early 18th century to mid 1820s, the Ashanti, they call the Ashanti expansion, they formed the Ashanti Federation. And no, actually, that's the Ashanti Federation, that's after. But my point is they conquered Ghana. Okay, they conquered the country. So they are a conquering tribe. So when Europeans like the British wanted to, say they want to have control over the place, how do you think that went? That's like they were not like encroaching on, let's say, some tribe that's in the forest's territory. That's not, if the Ashantis don't have control over it, then that doesn't count. So when you explain that for a Black person in America who is programmed to see things as race, they don't see the difference. So my point is, in the 13th grade, I realized that, not that this was shocking to me, but I wanted to see how the Europeans too, if they were able to figure out. When I say Europeans, I'm talking about in America, because like I said, Americans do things differently. I wanted to see if they understood how we, our tribes, if they understand our mindsets towards each other. Because this is why some tribes will not even marry others, because they look at them like they are beneath them. Okay? That's how they see it. So some do feel superior over others. So people, when people like that, you see them here in America, for instance, they would tend to have, this chip on their shoulder, like aggressive behavior, because they think you should understand who they are in their tribe. Look, I have seen this with my own eye. It is the most fascinating thing to see. There's nothing I enjoy more than seeing a Black American come in contact with an African who thinks his tribe is like, you don't know who I am in my tribe, and watch the conversation. Because I like the Black person who, like, there's this carefree Black people who they will just let you say whatever and be like, man, shut up, Negro. You Black in America. And on the internet, people come here and pretend like people don't get offended by this. I've seen it with my own eyes. The conversation gets tense. But then that same African person I will see be docile dealing with a white person. I've seen this, and I've seen it vice versa too, where a Black person would be talking tough, acting tough, and be very docile when a white person shows up. You see this all throughout Africa's history. And I started thinking, okay, they can change your name. They can, you can forget your tribe, but does your nature change? Because honestly, I have seen in America here, Black Americans too, who were born and raised in America, being here forever. Their response and interaction with white people, for instance, or others, is similar to, some people Africans you would call docile. And I notice I tend to see this quite a bit from, our fellow East African people, minus the Horners. They operate differently. I don't see them roll like that. So that's why even in the conversation, you notice what, like the Horners were saying. I enjoyed the conversation and I liked their attitude and position, which many, Black Africans lack. So that's why I want to ask the question. Have you noticed, even with the conquering of Africa, has something to do with, the nature of docility that exists? It's like docility is more common than, strength. Is that what you've observed? And this doesn't, it comes in different forms. It comes in thinking, okay? In thinking. And I'm going to show that to you as well. So for instance, right? I gave the familiar interaction because, many that are watching are in the West or socialize in the Western system. So understand Black interaction, when the docility comes, massa gotta come up, white person has to. But it wasn't every African tribal group that Europeans conquered that bowed down to their will. This is a fact. There are more that are affected than others. Even though there was unification, some are just flat out. No. Some became willing participants up till today. Some provided the labor. They just, I mean, like it's a service that's been provided. But is it done with critical thinking? Do you guys think that's something that is lacking in the African's nature? Because I read this in the 13th and 14th grade. The white people are talking about it. So people think, so the way I interacted with it, right? Imagine you're sitting there, because most black people, their reaction is when they hear these things, when they say, oh, the Africans have low IQ, they get upset and mad. I was like, wait a minute. I didn't get mad. I didn't get mad at all, right? Because I want to know, what is this based on? In what category is this being done? Because I want to hear. I can assure you, you'll be surprised. The arguments are not based off of like physical material things, because people like to base it off of that. So that's why I respect somebody who can go deep in the mind and break the psychology and see a pattern, a group of people, having the same faith. Is that just their nature? I'm pretty sure when you see videos in African countries, a Chinese is beating somebody. People that are from those countries, they probably, when you show them the video, they would say, oh yeah, it's probably they would name a tribe. Because some tribes, if a Chinese or anybody touches them like that, their ego and how they feel, no, you're not gonna get away with it, especially in their country. But I realize in America, we are grouped. Everybody is grouped together and called the universal thinking, and I understand why. And some Africans, because I'm noticing the docile thinking is the majority. So their voice is loud. Their voice is loud. Their thinking is allowed to be pushed forward. If you don't listen carefully, you tend to miss it. Because back in the days, for some Europeans have to force them, beat them up. Machines weren't there. But today, you just change the way they think, the way they interact with books. They would be begging others to come and colonize Africa. I said this a few months in an interview. I said African docility calls for most of these African countries to be recolonized because they are better off being colonized. And people were very upset. They were in their feelings. They called me all kinds of names. Because you see, I didn't mince the words. I laid it out exactly as I see it. But I also welcome, I welcome people disagreeing with me. This is why this topic is here today. And many people have been asking for this topic. I'm just telling you, if you see a group of people, for example, if you go check in some of these countries that, people that you see foreigners would be beating in African countries, they belong to a certain tribe. Some people, their tribes, they don't operate like that. Is it a teaching? Is it nature? What is it? That's what I want to know. I will invite people in today to come up here and tell me what they think. It's not about agreeing or disagreeing with me. It's what you've observed or what you've heard, what you've seen in movies, or from what history, the results of history is showing. But before I do that, I'm going to play a video here, a short video. It's from an African Pan-Africanist. You know, there's a difference. There's the American capitalist, branch of Pan-Africanism. Then you have the Caribbean branch, the UK. Shout out to my UK people. And you have the African branch. The African branch. And the African branch, when they make their videos, they tend to be docile. You either A, they gotta be Wadi Maya, or they have to spend their time arguing with everybody. They are not telling you why what you're saying, why they disagree with what you're saying. They just they attack you, and then I see the same pattern. I see the same pattern. So the African Pan-Africanists are also showing docility. In fact, they are calling, there are some of them that even criticized me for simply speaking the truth. Many of these African countries, where do you think they get their aid from? Where do you think they get it from? Go look it up. So when I'm pointing out the obvious, people get upset because when reality challenges falsehood, it falls apart. So this video that I'm about to play here is an African Pan-Africanist. The man is from a country that, everybody have been accusing of being taken over by the Chinese. They have been accused of being the country where the Chinese go there and give lashes to his people. So this is why I ask, is it just nature? Some people are just like that. So even in the Pan-African space, some of these people are still docile. This man would talk about so much stuff that he attacked me on. But when it comes to other people, he elevates them like gods. This is why the Western Pan-Africanists pretend to like the African Pan-Africanists, because they know these are silly people. But I'm going to play the video as an example of African docility. Some Africans, not all. Here we go.
Hey guys, just want to say thank you for clicking onto this video. Please share and subscribe. I want to just talk a little bit about why I always mention African Americans in my videos, and why I always try to communicate with African Americans. Here's what I look at it. America is the richest country in the world.
If you go back and check some of my videos underneath, this same group of people of his ilk, you will see where these people are upset that I dare talked about how rich America is. They are upset about my American flag. I am a sellout for saying America is a beautiful place to be in. But he gets to say the same thing, right? No problem. But let's continue.
Every other race has benefited significantly from America. Significantly. A lot of people call America the American experiment. There's a lot of things that have happened in America that never happened in other parts of the world. And it sort of explains why that country is the richest country in the world. The way I've seen, when you look at how the world works and how America has helped other places in the world. If you 1910.
Yeah. So the African Pan-Africanists, generally, the traits are they tend not to be living in America, and they seem to care so much about what Black Americans in America should get. I get that some people say, oh, yeah, Black America as a group are the poorest group compared to others. But when they say poor, it's not African poor. I want that to be clear. Not like African poor is different kind of poor. Obviously, Black Americans live in the most advanced country. They would have access to that advancement and participate in it. So you cannot expect that your interactions as a group, calling to interact with them as a group, with a group of people who are coming from a thinking of colonize us, right? But then when they colonize you, you complain. You complain. So this man is setting up his premise to call for what I said on another platform.
The Italians were in poverty. Poverty. They moved to America. A lot of them moved to America. There's a lot of people also that moved to Africa. Or today, that generation is doing extremely well. They are architectures and they're getting lots of work as Africa develops and all that. But a lot of people moved to America. The same Italians that moved to America made money that they sent home to Italy and helped the economy of Italy. Even America rescued them a fair bit. America did the same thing for the Germans. The Irish, where
You know, if you notice, they would tell us what America did for who immigrated to America, who didn't. So you have a whole country to you. You're related to these people. You guys, have similar cultures. And I'm sure you guys have minerals too. But you are going to sit in your car to address other people's pocket way across the water. But this is what the Pan-Africanism has been, right? But it is showing the docility and the lack of critical thinking skills. People are watching this. And like I said, in America, they will say, so, oh, the African guy. So he's a representation of you. So now you get one of the ways how people would attach docility to Africans. It doesn't have to come in the form of subjugation, like physically. You could also allow the person to tell you their thinking, how they think. And when they are talking, what positions do they create for themselves in the hierarchy of the things they are talking about? What position are they putting themselves in relation to other people, regardless of skin color? Let's go.
the same. They went to America, made money, sent it home. Every other person, every other race, every other group of people, countries, they've benefited from America. Now, black people, African Americans, they've been part of that development. If anything, they've worked harder than anyone in that
So here comes the pandering. So everybody that came to America, all these other groups you talked about that made so much money, but it is black people only that worked harder than everybody else. That worked harder than everybody else. If this man truly believes that, why don't he ask the black people how they did it so he can do it in the country where he's trying to ask to be colonized?
country. Anyone. I say black Americans are the most patriotic Americans.
Black Americans are the most patriotic Americans. Okay.
Because they even went to war and fought when no one wanted you to be there. And you
They went to war to fight when no one wanted you to be there. Who didn't want them to be there? Who? I believe when they have wars, able-bodied men will be brought. But he is telling us Black American history. Let's see where this history goes.
come home, you didn't even get a job. But you went and fought for your country. That's patriotism at its best. You couldn't even get a house as a GI.
This guy should run for office.
When everyone else was getting houses. But you still went and fought for that country. Now, I'm a Pan-Africanist. My Pan-African...
Did you guys hear it? He told you. He is a Pan-Africanist. So you get some of these Pan-Africanists, they get upset, right? But when people call out these things, point things that, let me tell you, look at this man, what he's saying. You're going to see the African docility all the way. Listen to the position he creates in the hierarchy of what he's about to tell us. He's a Pan-Africanist, according to him. So when you talk about things like this, the Pan-Africanists, they never say, no, he's not one of us. They still say, man, you're hating on us. But I have different subjects that I deal with. It doesn't matter what people call themselves, you know, what gang you belong to. I'm speaking on what you are uttering out of your mouth. That's all I'm interested in. I don't care about what flag you fly or what it is. If you come as a subject matter here, not you as an individual, but if the subject that I'm talking about, you happen to make a video that fits, you know, what the viewers need to see here or hear. As an example, I'll put it through. And his video came at the right time.
Africanism is not the one where it says move to Africa. Now, my Pan-Africanism is what Marcus Garvey, I strongly believe, wanted, is to connect black people all over this world to Africa. When we do that, we will create wealth. Africa is the richest continent in the world. You know, it's got 30% of all the natural reserves that's left in the world. Right now, they're trying to create a nickel mine from Tanzania, where the company, so I think it's Kabamba or something like that, they're trying to raise $1.3 billion. And if that happens, that nickel mine will solve all the problems that all these electric cars are facing with high nickel prices or shortage of nickel. That one mine. Now, I've said this in my videos before. If we were to create a...
The guy is genius, isn't he? Do you ever think about how, you know, these people would confidently tell you how rich Africa is? It's rich in natural resources. That means absolutely nothing if you cannot turn it into something else.
company called Pan-African Co. All we need is just $300 million initial investment. We start with the mines, with the constructions, with the...
Have you guys noticed? The pattern is the same. If from America all the way through. But he's trying to pull a Dr. Umar, 300 million for a mine. So, like I said, he has a whole country that he belongs to. But he's asking for 300 million from Black Americans.
agriculture, but we start with the mines first. With that type of money, within 18 months, we can turn that into 1 point something billion dollars. Within 18 months, I
What is this something? Pretty vague, but let's go.
guarantee you that. Now, America, let me go back. America is the richest country in the world.
Guys, did you guys remember the same thing that made me a sellout and a self-hater? Was this one of his phrase here? America, the richest country in the world. Oh, you are a self-hater. Oh yeah, you are a self-hater for observing the obvious. Yeah, for being able to observe the obvious and tell it. Oh, that means you're a self-hater. Oh, you act like you're green, whatever that means. But again, they want to be like, when they speak to someone like me, they are pro-Africa. Pro-Africa. They said they are not the servants. But let's let him continue telling us what the plan would entail.
America influences all of us. Almost every country has got movies. There's Italian movies, German movies, English movies. We watch James Bond from England, but the rest of the movies are American. America has more influence in this world and advertises itself. We know there's blacks in Brazil and all these other places.
Yeah, we know blacks in Brazil. I mean, they are not as cool, so they probably don't have as much money. So that's why, you know what? Why don't I just pander to the blacks in America? Because you see, here's why most people get mad at me. Here's why. When I point these things out, the obvious, right? And I know the African thinking most, they see black people in America, their way of thinking, as white people. If they didn't, majority, they would see the thinking as being white. They're not going to tell you this, but that's how they look at it. They've never interacted with blacks. Even the ones that did would tell you that. But same people would say, I'm brainwashed. Mind you, I came from Africa on my own. So you want to tell me being the individual that traveled here on my own, knowing what tribe I'm from, speak the language, I'm with my people, I'm easily brainwashed. But somebody who was raised in a system for hundreds of years, they are not brainwashed at all. They didn't pick up white people's ways, the dominant culture. This is what they want you to believe. And they think that's like an insult, but it isn't. This right here, this is crazy. But it's showing you where there's no machines, when the Europeans come, certain groups will be available to do that job. Some welcome colonizers of any sort. See, when I use colonizing, because I know that word has a negative connotation to it, but in the context of Pan-Africanism, because that's how they look at the world. They look at it through the prisms of race. But do they truly believe it? I'm not sure.
But we don't know much about Brazil. We know they're there. You know, for me, what encourages me is what Marcus Garvey did. Marcus Garvey didn't go to the Jamaicans to say, let's raise money and start this Black Star. Let me buy this ship. Nah, he went to the Americans. Why is that? Because you guys live in the richest continent, in the richest country in the world. You can afford the dollar. Other people can't. But one thing I've realized that Africans have wealth. They just don't know it yet. You go to Africa, they got timber. Timber is big business. They got timber. They got, you name it, it's there. But they don't have the money to buy the machinery to dig what's underground or cut that timber.
So the wealth doesn't exist. You hear this? Timber is big money. We have it. But the problem is we don't have the money to the machinery. But other places have it. So you are calling to other people to come and, rescue your plan.
And I think this is where you guys can come in. But at the same time, you're not going to be slaves. You're not going to be...
People, I want you to hear this part good. So, when especially people talk about how people treat each other, that's why the flat blackness is crazy. Listen to the position he's about to give his people.
Laborers. You're not going to be, or you can be laborers if you want to work harder, but you'll be in sort of respected position where you can say, okay, this is our money. And the Africans are also in a respect position where you say, we got the resources and let's work together.
Isn't that what the Chinese are doing? Isn't that what the Chinese and other people are doing? The Africans have all this timber, like you say, in your country, they can't cut it. So the Chinese come, they have the machine and money. They hire the Africans to be the laborers. The Chinese are not being the slaves, like you promised Black Americans not to be slaves. So yesterday I showed you guys a video here, the topic about how Idi Amin kicked the Indians out of Uganda back in the 70s, right? I talked about that. But this guy listened to the idea because it's the opposite of Idi Amin. He thinks kicking them out and putting his list of people in those shops, soon those people would also look like the Indians instead of being themselves. Okay? So this guy said, yeah, you're going to come with the money. The Chinese have the money. They have the machinery, the expertise, and they would hire the Africans as laborers. That's what you're suggesting. So when I said this before and said to put this is what upset them, because I said to put these Africans to work, they were very upset. They were very upset. So the bottom line is this man, his thought process, there's a reason why he confidently suggested the position the Africans are going to be holding in this hierarchy. That's it, because he knows what the facts are. He knows where to go get that supply if this were to truly happen. But let's hear how much money he thinks Black Americans have and how many are willing to come to Africa you know, because this guy thinks all black people in America think alike, want the same thing. They want to, put money together and give it to some African guy in a car to go, turn his countrymen as quote unquote slave. Why would this guy even mention slave in that lineup? So he thinks, black people would are interested in this. You have some who are crazy enough, but how many are those around? How many?
For me, I personally believe if you guys have what, $1.6 trillion in spending power. That doesn't mean you don't have the wealth, though. That's the
It's funny how they go on the internet and read these things. Black Americans have this spending power. Spending power. See, if you have to go read in a paper for somebody, if you see yourself part of a group where somebody else explains your spending pattern, you are still enslaved. You are still a slave. Somebody is dictating that. Period. But to say the way he's speaking as if all black people in America have the same interests. So therefore, they they all spend this money that he's quote unquote talking about, you know, together, in one thing.
thing. In America, you are the poorest of all the races that are there. To me, I think that's unfair. Personally, I even think you shouldn't, because you worked for so many years for free. And
Guys, this some of these guys they make me laugh. You are the poorest in America. Trust me, I know this, okay? You are the poorest. But you worked harder than everybody, okay? And yeah, you worked harder, but it's not fair what happened to you. Dude, make up your mind. So if what he's saying, he believes this, so he's called, why don't you look for the a richer group to come and invest, i.e., colonize? Because colonizing, bottom line, is about making money to get that country to open their market to you. That's what it is. You think these people are interested in wanting to subjugate the people? Back in those days, there's a reason why it happened, because, you know, some of these tribes would revolt against strangers encroaching on their land, and rightfully so. So now the world have integrated enough to where they don't need to do that anymore. Now, the markets are open, so they can come in with money and invest and get those African slaves slash laborers and hire them. That's what it's about. But let's let him tell us how we're black people, the poorest group in America, according to him, where they should be spending their money at.
there has to be something you should be getting for free, even like free education, free something for.
Many are getting free education in America. You know, all most education up to college is free. Most people get it for free. I know some are gonna say student loans. Yes, there's tons of that as well. But there are plenty of people that get that for free. Has this fella ever heard of affirmative action? But even, why would I even explain this? Why is this guy telling black people in America that he said are the poorest group what they should get free or not free.
Free, because your ancestors putting the years of hard labor, getting whipped, getting beaten, getting killed. There has to be some sort of, everyone has gotten reparation, whatever you guys call it. Everyone has gotten it. The people that were at Nagasaki, remember they attacked the Americans first, and when America bombed Hiroshima and Nagasaki, those people, they've had the reparations paid. Almost everyone that America affected.
You see what this guy is doing? So I know some of you like to say sometimes like the Black ADOS group, they overreact. I can see when they see videos like this, why they would think there are Africans who have their eye on Black Americans, quote unquote reparation if they get reparation. I mean, think about it. This guy laid it out. He's even telling Black Americans, America gave reparation to the Japanese. So, okay, let me get this straight. So you're telling Black people their ancestors were beating, all these things happened to them. So therefore, you want a piece of their suffering too. Is that what I'm hearing? Do you guys think that's what he's asking for? He wants a piece of that too. Because why does this make sense? Black Americans, America gave reparations to these people. So, you guys should collect your reparations and come to Africa, to my country.
One or another has had their reparations paid. The problem I've seen is this so-called integration, because you guys become a part of the American narrative, which is white. And I think this is where a lot of things.
He's mad at Black Americans for wanting to integrate with whites. And they're part of the American narrative. So, you guys see, this is why people get upset, because I bring out logic out of the illogical things they say. So you want Black Americans, like you said, their ancestors toiled in America, suffered, worked, they're part of America. So now America became the richest country in the world, like you kept reminding them several times, because you said the video is made to Black Americans. You kept reminding them. By the way, he's playing his African docile position really well. So, so this guy, like before, when I hear those people say there are Africans who want a part of their reparation, I used to think it was crazy. But this is proof that this is not a lie. This man really wants a piece of that reparation. He wants a piece of it. But he has to play the docility part.
It's going to be hard for.
Let's see. Kwesi said, "You lazy slaves, go get your money instead of waiting for handouts in Ghana. In Ghana, we believe in working hard and earning our own money." That's Kwesi. Kwesi, welcome in the house.
African Americans to get that. But for me, what I've started to believe is that when you can create wealth, you can have. I did a video not a long time ago. I was talking about how Trump has come out and said there's more. The Jews sort of control the Senate. What is it that the Jews have? They have money.
When did Donald Trump say this? Where is? But this guy is counting everybody's money. Everybody's money. And there is certain groups, from certain tribes, maybe if somebody in his country, no, they'll be like, yeah, that's expected because he's from there. It's not always true. I don't want people to say, oh, Afridama say 100% that's how it is. No. But I notice a pattern.
You have money, you can control a lot of things. I'm a strong believer in that. I strongly believe with a little bit, just like Marcus Garvey was able to raise millions of dollars before there was crowdfunding, before there was any of these social media and all that. He was able to raise so much money from poor Africans, African Americans. You don't have the wealth, but you have the money. You know what I mean?
See, when I opened the line, I want Black Americans also to call on this subject.
So when you put that money, it can help you create the wealth. When you bring your money together, $1 here, $1 there, $1 here, and then you connect to Africa, I strongly believe this is exactly what Marcus Garvey saw. And when you connect,
This guy really thinks we'll live. You know, this is like still back where in 1900s, early 1900. That's what he thinks the era is.
that to Africa, when you start producing things, when you start getting things out of Africa and bringing it to these markets, which is what white people do, bringing it to these markets, that can help so many people, so many black people, just like American Italians has helped grow Italy, American Chinese, they've helped grow China, and they're benefiting from that. They've created so much. This is why you see.
So the Black people in America, let's say, because the Japanese, yes, they deal with their home country directly. At one point in Japan, the Japanese, their citizens would spy for their countries. The Chinese, they have that with their country. Most countries do. But if Black people, what country will they, as a group, have this connection with, where they will be sending their money to? Who are they going to be sending this money to? Because people gotta have family. So you're saying, take your money and send it to people. By the way, he's not West African anyway. Who are they going to send it to? What country? So that doesn't make sense.
The Chinese face a little bit of hate. The next thing, the government comes and gives them money, but it doesn't happen. It's not the same thing to you. There's always these movements, or there's this movement and it never works. You know why? Because you don't have the wealth. But if you can connect Africa to the little money that you have, it will help your money grow tenfold. This is why I say,
Coming from a guy who hasn't done this, isn't that amazing? All these things he's telling Black Americans in America who have more than the people where he come from, because he's basing it on money. He's basing it on money. So it's fair to believe that Blacks in America have more money than Blacks in Zambia, his country, on average. So in this video, he's already asked to be colonized. He's already asked to be colonized. He's playing his role to invite Black Americans because he sees them above himself. 1 minute, another minute, he reminds them of being poor. So is this just a role that he's playing? Is this, okay, like someone said in the chat, Africans are not docile, but they assume that role when dealing with other races. Why is that? That's what I want to know.
even people are saying now, you gotta put money into Bitcoin. And I think that's actually true. You know, you don't have to put in gazillions of dollars. Even just 5% of your investment, put into Bitcoin. Because what you are trying to create is create wealth. Wealth is what can change your future in America. That is very, very important. And I strongly believe that. This is why most of the time I start talking, I'll mention African Americans, African Americans, African Americans. Because once we can create that sort of wealth, we can start transferring it to all other people in other parts of the world. We can transfer to Latin America. We can create so much work that those people, there's already people that have gotten back from.
So, guys, you guys see why the Chinese are in Zambia, right? So, maybe there's another Zambian like him he believes in the Chinese money. So, he called on to the Chinese to come there. So, now he read Marcus Garvey's book. Marcus Garvey did his work in America, collected money. He wants to replicate that. He said it himself. That's who he's copying. This is wild.
From Brazil who are now in Nigeria. This has been happening. And I personally believe because of colonialism, Africans lost something. Those people that left are more African than the Africans that stayed. Remember.
Guys, so the Africans that stayed in Africa are less African than the ones that left. Let's hear his logic.
Kwame Nkrumah, all these first founders of Africa were so very influenced by Americans. You know.
Well, which Americans? Tell us their names.
Very influenced by Americans, so that Africa started fighting for its independence. I strongly believe, just like other Americans have played their role in developing their countries or their races in parts outside of America, you can play a role, a very big role in helping. And there's no shame in that. There's no shame. Africa has no shame.
GH said, can we consider the association between docility and economics, or docility and force? Well, we can consider both. We can consider both.
To be ashamed of it. You don't have to be ashamed of it, because at the end of the day, it's going to help the whole black community. And that.
So it's like different groups in Africa are docile to certain groups. Like someone just said the Horners are docile to the Arabs and Indians. Well, the lines would be open. The lines are open right now, in fact. Hit that link. Let's have the conversation.
I know there's a movement that actually going to produce results, because Africa is the richest continent in the world. The riches are there. The riches are there. We just need to come together and create something together. Because I tell you what, I'll give you an example. If you don't do that, it's going to be extremely hard for you to create wealth. It could be another 200 years from now, you've been the same.
So did you guys hear this? A man who is from, Zambia, you guys heard, is the wrong guy to be saying this. Is it natural docility, people? That's what I want to know. Is it conditions? I mean, I've noticed it. So I'm going to start bringing people in a second. Let me finish this. We have a couple of people in the back here. So the Horners also being accused here of being docile to the Arabs. So I need the Horners to hit the link too.
Position. Because this is just the way things work in the world. You can be first in Africa, but you can't be first in America. Things have already been done. Wealth has already been created, and the people that win.
Sorry, eye movement. I know he's a yawn fest, but we're about to, heat it up here in a second.
First, they're gonna hold on to that wealth, and that's just what happens. I'll give you an example. Germany, before the Second World War, was just German. Then after the second.
What's with the Pan-Africans with Germany? I'll put it there for a sec. I'll bring in the first caller. Diego, thank you for calling in. Diego, can you hear me?
Oh, Afrodamus, how you doing, man?
I am doing
Yes, I
well.
can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Diego, I'm glad you called because
Yeah.
this is actually
So,
your your favorite topic. So Diego, do you think most Africans, because like I was explaining about how some tribes are more docile, like are they, is it natural, like what is it, or people
well,
are just misunderstanding
uh,
it?
yeah, I think our Africans are docile. Yeah, I come to agree with that, but I actually also believe that Africans cannot sense threat. You understand? So even their decisions are not our decisions as Africans. Our societies are not actually. We don't plan thinking about threats. So when things happen, we are not prepared. So we are docile, but we cannot perceive threats as well.
Wait, so you said you believe Africans cannot perceive threat.
Yeah,
Is that what I'm hearing?
we can't.
You
Yes, that's
know,
what you're hearing.
okay, okay. So, do you think that plays a role into why it seems easy for outsiders to dominate African societies? Can you hear me?
Yes, it definitely plays a role, because for one, being docile and not seeing that threats, you can be easily used. You see, you're being docile, you treat everybody like they're your brother. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but you'll tell them your secrets, all this stuff, and you will not understand in the future how they can use it against you.
Okay. So, what do you think about the Zambian guy asking for Black Americans to put their money together and come and invest in Zambia? And also, he wants some of that reparation money to be invested in their country. All right. He fall off. We have Dr. R. Dr. R, welcome to the show.
Greetings, Afridamus. Greetings as usual.
Greetings to you, Dr. R. You know, I'm glad you called in, Dr. R. In fact, yesterday you brought this up about the
Yes,
docility. So that would mean you observe the same thing other people have and myself. But now, this docility, do you, because you're from Somalia, an
I
African
just
country,
first
like
want to
myself,
respond to. I just want to first respond to the previous caller, Diego.
would Diego, no, you'll get a chance. You get a chance. So, do you think, certain groups, act this way when they come in contact with with outside groups, but the difference is just more common amongst, African societies? Go ahead.
Looking at the societies of Africa and the tribes in the history, some tribes in Africa were very hostile and suspicious of outsiders. Some tribes who are isolated, tend to be, what's it called, open, friendlier, but naive at the same time of the outsider's intention because they've never seen these group of people.
Right. Okay. So, what were you going to respond
I
about
want to respond.
Diogo?
I want to respond to this. What he said was very naive. You're saying that Africans or any other ethnic group or tribe in the world cannot respond to threats from outsiders, cannot understand threats. Like, what do you mean by that? Because I just find that very stupid and naive.
Go ahead, Diogo. Oh, I can't. Diogo,
Um,
I think something is wrong. Mo. All right, Mo.
yeah,
Welcome to the show, Mo.
thank you for having me.
Hey, Mo. So, Mo, do
Yeah,
you this topic here, do you think people misunderstand Africans they come in contact with and say they are docile? Uh, or, or you believe the fact, like some say Africans are naturally docile. Which one is it when dealing with outside groups?
I mean, okay, I'm gonna have to, in terms of broad general, I'd probably say Africans are docile. They're very welcoming. They tend to trust people from the outside. So on that point of view, I kind of agree. But again, I saw a couple of people
But
commenting and saying,
do you think this is like a certain group, or
see,
it's just
if I had to point out, see again, if you look at it like through the lenses of history, West Africa, Central Africa, South Africa, even Southeast Africa. I mean, I wouldn't say so much as the Horn of Africa or North. I can't say Northeast Africa because you can clearly see the takeover that happened there. But again, if I'm looking at it from a clear lens, then I can clearly say that it happened to a large chunk of Africa. But I wouldn't so much as say the Horn, as Afrodamas, you know about the traveling of the people of the Horn and how they explored the world, and how they, yeah, you can. And throughout, like, you know, the history of the people of the Horn, like, you know, the fact that they traveled through the world and they never came to our land first, and we came to their land first. So there was a lot of
you guys are in the, you know, offensive.
Yeah, we were on the offensive. That's the best way to put it. So we've kind of experienced what the world had to show. So again, we weren't so accepting. We weren't so accepting. So let me give you an example of this. The fact that I'll try to speak from the lens of my people, the Somalis. The Somalis have the record for the longest anti-colonial war in history, 200 years against the British. And the fact that they even wrote a book about us, it's called the East African Protector, written by Charles Eliot. They said that when they went to other countries in Africa, the black man saw himself as inferior. But when they went to Somalia, they said that the Somalis saw themselves as the same or above them. The Somalis saw themselves as superiors.
So,
and that's what surprised me.
It's attitude, right?
Yeah, it's attitude. They said that the Somalis saw themselves as superior. You know, and then they said that the Somalis wouldn't shake hands with a fair fight. They wouldn't be happy if some guy beat them 1v1. So they said that the Somalis were cunning and smart in a way. So,
you know, have you ever heard of a guy called Henry Stanley? You know, Henry Stanley Morton. He was an explorer that explored the Congo for King Leopold.
Oh, was he the one that was responsible for the tragedies that were gonna come?
Well, you know, this guy, you know, he's a little white guy.
Yeah.
He terrorized the Africans he was coming in contact with to a point. They gave him a name. They call him Bula Matari. Bula Matari, the rock breaker.
Wow. I mean, if I'm gonna have to put it into perspective, the problem with Africans is they see themselves as inferior. They need to see themselves as superior. They need to have a mind change. So that's the problem.
So you saying is the mindset?
Yes, it is. It's the mindset. Okay. And I'll give you a clear example of mindset. See, if I'm gonna use an example of mindset, I'm gonna try to use it on, again, an example of the Somalis. So on that book also, they said that the Somalis were expanding outwards. So the British in that book were in a way telling that they couldn't let Somali expansion happen. It was going to be a problem for them in the future.
So do the Somalis do they act docile when it comes to Arabs and Indians?
Absolutely not. I'll explain why. See, there's a lot of
I mean, I know their reaction to white people. I don't have to ask that one.
Yeah. See, with the Arabs, we share religion. We share a lot of cultural similarities and religion with them as well. So I wouldn't say that. See, the Arabs also have not done anything to warrant our attention. They never come to the Somaliland, and they've not tried to take over or do anything hostile towards us. That's another thing. Again,
more. See, again, and with that's good. Hold on. I want to allow Proud Cushitic. We have Proud Cushitic and Olimi. Olimi, go for it. Olimi, do you think, why do you think most Africans docile? Is that just misunderstood, or they are really docile?
Look, I think most Africans are nice people, and they see
When you
other
say
people.
nice, like,
I mean, if you're very nice and very kind, right? You see other people like you are. But the thing is, that comes with naivety, right? You then you get taken advantage of. That's what I think, and that's like the downside of Africans, because they see everybody like the same and nice and kind. But the thing that I don't understand at the same time is when it comes to themselves against
yes.
tribal,
Mhm.
then there goes the line. Then they kill each other very quickly, very fast.
Oh, yes,
But when
that's
it comes to
that's the that's
outsider,
what yeah.
exactly. So is this really like I'm like torn between? Is this really nice to be nice, or is it just
Yes, that's what I
submissiveness?
wanted you to explain, because
Exactly.
when you say nice, I was about to
Yeah,
walk you
I
there,
was exactly.
because it's not
Yeah.
always true. That's why I said with outside people, because
Mhm.
African to
Mhm.
African, even here, like in America, like
Mhm.
you would think when you watch TV, what they show, they would say, "Oh, police shooting black person," right? You would think
Yeah.
the anger would be towards what is promoted, but more
Mhm.
black people shoot more black people. In
I'm li-
Africa,
Exactly. I
um
think.
if people are nice, more
Yeah.
wars is between Africans themselves than other
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
can I
Exactly. That is something that I was also thinking about, because I just contradict myself. But the thing is, yeah, we are very quick and easy to kill our own,
Yeah, because when you
and
say nice, nice means
exactly.
docility,
But if
translated.
we think about before colonial, right? Some of Africans have never seen other people
Right.
that were not black, right?
Hmm.
So some even thought some of them were gods,
Right.
right?
Right.
So that's like primitive thinking, right? So these
Hmm.
people had no interaction with these people, with other people.
can I
Now
make a
I
point?
want to, yeah, so yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, thank you. I was just gonna make one quick point. See, I was looking through the comments, and somebody called Amlika said, "Then how did you turn Muslims to basically to the Somalis about the previous question I was answering for Afrodamus?" See, the when the Muslim refugees, basically the first Muslims came to the Horn of Africa, they came to the southern part of Ethiopia and the northern part of Somalia. And what happened is there's a mosque built by the Arabs about in the time of the Prophet. I'm talking about 1,500
200.
years ago. They came to us and they preached. Oh, we already believed in one God already, but we had something else called work. It's a whole different system. We already had the idea and the concept of believing in one God. So when they introduced this new religion to us,
Hold on, more.
yeah,
Uh, I don't.
I would
When we
like,
can talk about that later, but
okay, yeah,
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 I
let's
would
stick
like,
with the topic. Go
let
no
ahead.
me,
worries,
yeah,
no worries.
let me just finish my point I was making. So uh when these new people came, so these people were all fascinated with these people apparently, and
But
they've been taken
what about
advantage of.
today? What about today?
Yeah, today still goes on though. That is really, I want to say no so badly, but the evidence is working against me, to be
Okay.
honest, right?
Okay. Now let's allow
Yeah.
proud Koshitik. Proud Koshitik. What
What's
do you
up?
think?
How are
What's
you,
going
Afro?
on?
How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Great, great. So I just wanted to say, when we learned about the game, right? When we talked about Somali history, these people that are docile in Africa,
Yeah.
they don't have a history before colonialism. And when you don't have a history before colonialism, of course you're going to be docile. Of course you're going to be overly welcoming. You don't understand how the game works. You're going to easily be taken advantage of. So
Okay.
that's how China can easily go into the Zambia, the country you mentioned earlier, and dominate that society.
But what about, okay, if that's true, like if that's true, right? You look at like the Zambian guy that was, the video he's making about having, encouraging black people to get the reparation and move to Zambia, calling to be colonized. Let's say this has happened over time, because like Olimi said, okay, they met white people. Maybe these people never met other people before, but now a significant number has, and it's still happening, even with people that are educated in the white system.
Who are these people we're talking about? From what countries?
No, like several different countries.
Yeah, and those countries, the people there don't have any significant history. Like,
bro, can I ask you a question? I have to agree with you on that. When it comes to like fucking with a country, I do agree with you. It's about the country's civilization, because you could easily conquer people like Angola that had no civilization. You couldn't mess with certain. You couldn't mess with certain countries in West Africa, and in Central and in Horn of Africa, because those countries had civilizations and they were stronger tribes. You couldn't mess with.
So they were not docile. That's what you're saying.
They were not docile, and they are not docile today.
Okay, let's allow who's this? Hold on. Josie, go for it.
Yeah, greetings, Africanist. Can you hear me?
To you. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, okay. Yeah, look, for me personally, I think that it is true that I think most Africans are docile, not all Africans, but I think for most African nations in the past, they are not docile. Okay, let me speak about my own country, South Africa. Some tribes were just never docile, like in terms of like when they met colonial powers before in the past, because some of them defeated like the British, like at some point, like the Zulu people. Some people fought for like 100 years before they actually lost, like the Xhosa people. So I think after those losses, mentally, some people developed an inferiority complex. But even a lot of these nations, these tribes that but in over time, some of these tribes, because of those losses, they started feeling inferior. But even with that, some people didn't. Some people still kept pushing. I think there's always people who went against it. So, but I would say I agree that some are, most of them are docile.
You think it's by nature?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're saying?
Yeah. You think it's by nature?
No, I don't think it's by nature. I think it's the loss and humiliation.
Okay.
Can I say something?
We have Imoya. What do you think? I saw what you wrote in the chat, but go ahead.
I think that we are all docile except for Ethiopians, and I say this because Somalis, they literally took in Yemeni refugees, but Yemen wouldn't do that for them or any other Arab country.
Well,
and
okay, let's allow
them to respond.
And they had
wait, Dr. R, you will get your turn. I'll have the Somalis respond.
And they had war since the 90s, right? But if anything, Libya literally deported them back to their country after torturing them. Why don't they help them out? Because Somalis are over here helping them out. So that's messed up. And also, North Sudan, they took in Syrian refugees. And North Sudan literally changes dialect from Sudanese Arabic to Syrian Arabic.
So you believe that Somalis are docile to the Arabs then?
Yes, and North Sudanese people, because they change their dialect just to cater to Syrian.
Really?
Right now, they speak Syrian Arabic over there in North Sudan now. So,
okay, I'll let Dr. R respond. Go ahead, Dr. R.
Emoya, to me, you're just a stupid little girl. You have no knowledge here. First of all, do you know how many Somalis are in Yemen? No, let me finish. There's 500,000 Somalis in Yemen. Do you know how many refugees Syria took in back in the day? Hundreds, tens of thousands. And many countries have taken in, many Arab countries have taken in, Somali refugees back in the day. And please do not compare my country to Sudan. Somalia and Sudan were two different countries, and we don't speak Arabic. And we're not docile to anybody. And furthermore, you stupid little girl, I was in Somalia 2 years ago. I'll tell you a story. I was in Somalia because in Somalia, there's a lot of Yemeni and Syrian beggars and refugees in my country. And I'll tell you a story one day. One day I was going to the shop where my grandparents live. And I remember I wanted to go buy a few snacks and a drink, and it was a hot day. Then I see an Arab woman and her kid. They were begging. And the Somali shopkeeper, said to them, get out of my shop and that, and he was about to get his stick and that. Then I said, whoa. You must have mercy on these people. And I thought, hold on a minute. I said to myself, why are these people in my country? These Syrians and that. And I kind of felt sorry for them. I said, let me just give them like $2, $3. And I thought, and it's quite sad. But when my whole entire time, I've seen more Arab beggars than Ethiopian beggars. So don't talk about something you don't know, love.
Good point. Dr. R,
wait. Imoya wrote something. Imoya, so you said most Africans are docile because something about we are human?
Oh, yes, because it's just in our human nature.
So it's nature?
No.
Explain.
Nature.
Hold on, explain.
Okay, we all know that sub-Saharan Africans are 100% human. We don't have any Neanderthal DNA. So we're just...
What?
Wait. Okay.
Yeah, so she has a point.
Hold on, let her yes, okay. Let
she
her
has a point.
Keep going. Okay.
Okay, you know how we're 100% human, Homo sapiens, so we just have like a big heart, even if people keep on playing with us. That's why we're in the condition that we're in. That's why we're docile.
Okay, can I make a point? Because you said earlier, Ethiopia, you said they're the only ones that are not docile?
Yeah.
Okay, wait, do you realize Eritreans defeated Ethiopia? Are you aware of this history?
Ethiopia actually colonized Eritrea.
Wait.
No.
Oh my God.
This is not making sense to me. There is no such thing as Eritrea in history. There's no such thing as Ethiopia. They're both part of the same kingdom of Aksum, so they're the same people. Genetically, culturally, historically.
No, they're not the same people. It evolved over time. Wait, hold on. Let me make a point. Let me finish.
When did Eritrea become a country?
Let me just finish my point.
Simple question.
Hold on,
when did Eritrea become a country? Brother.
Wait, let me make a point. She said Ethiopians are the only ones that are not docile. Nevertheless,
the topic is docility.
Exactly. Let's stay on topic. So the ones in the region, Eritrea, right? They are the ones that defeated those same Ethiopians she is saying that are not docile. So it makes no sense to make that argument. That's all I'm saying.
This chick doesn't know nothing about Ethiopia.
Okay.
I know everything about African
Can
history.
I add something?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Can I add just one last point before I go? Okay, look. Personally, for me, in my own country, I think today most people are not docile. Sure, you will find some people that are, but most people, I think, because of our struggle, most people are not docile, and most people will fight back. So, in my own country, no. Today, most people are not. Thank you.
Thank you, Josie. Okay, so we have here Dr. Polymath. All right, Polymath, thank you for coming in. Polymath, do you think most Africans, I know I've heard you speak on this before, but do you think most Africans are docile by nature? And also, do critical thinking skills, the lack of, play a role in this?
Right. Okay, so first of all, Africans, forget critical thinking. Africans don't know how to think, full stop. They're not thinking, right? What they're doing is they're going through their biophysiological, cultural sentiments, right? I can give you specific examples, specific tribes, and how stupid and ignorant that they are. Like, so you go to some places, and they're going to speak about, let's say, I'm going to talk about Somali community specifically, right? Mm-hmm. Go to a Somali community. These people, again, I'm generalizing, are going to think that because someone is Jarer or they're Bantus, they're going to be basically lower than them. Even if the guy has a higher IQ, is a better doctor than them, they're going to have that belief system, and they actually believe it. Then you go to the Bantu communities, they're so stupid and docile that they just believe what they've been taught the same way. So most Africans just don't think. They're just literally retarded creatures that don't have the complexities to be able to think or reason. Now you go down to, are they docile? Of course they are. Mostly the Bantus, though. I will say that the Cushitic tribes.
So is certain
right,
groups.
certain tribes, exactly. So I'll give the
Whoa,
logic
whoa,
to this.
go easy, Dr. K. Go easy, man. Go easy. Go easy.
Okay. I relax.
No, but can I ask you a question? Why is it that some Africans, they fear like foreigners when it comes to like even a Chinese man, a small little Chinese man with a small little will intimidate the taller African, the stronger African? Why is that the case? Is it because of
mental slavery? So obviously, like I said, let's say it's mostly the non-Cushitic tribes, right? So let's go with the most, Bantus, Niger, Congo A, including West Africa, South Africans, Zulu, etc. These peoples, their god system is a white man. So they psychologically believe that if a white man came beat them, they're superior to them. And they should believe this because the white man did beat them. So this goes deep into their psychology. And even if a white man is smaller or an Indian is smaller, they have this
mute yourself.
Yeah, someone needs to mute. No, I'm not finished speaking. Only me.
Hold on. Somebody mute
your mic.
Somebody mute.
Someone needs to mute.
Go ahead.
So basically, all these, especially like I said, the non-Cushitic tribes, they tend to be, and by Cushitic I'm including, the Sudanese and South Sudanese there. So these other non-Cushitic tribes, they tend to, because they chose the god system of the so-called Mzungu, they allow the Mzungu, anyone who seems superior in technology, to abuse them. Now
you go to the Cushitic in West Africa, we are not Bantus.
You guys are Niger Congo A, and you guys unfortunately have a similar kind of issue that some of the Bantus have. It's this kind of, these people beat us, and there's a reason for this.
So you think it's just straight, in our nature?
Yes, 100%. You see, the Cushitic tribes, these guys are a bunch of crazy people that are going to fight you over a small thing. So let's go to Kenya, for example. We have a tribe called the Maasai. Maasai is a Nilo-Cushitic tribe. These people believe that every cow belonged to them because they were there first. So they go to a Bantu tribe, they will steal their cow and say, we're just repatriating the cows back to us. Right? These people are warlike people. You go to Ethiopia. Ethiopians, they look really kind of gayish, right? Like some of my uncles, they look really gayish, and they hold each other's hands. but no, they do. I'm being honest. Look, Ethiopians kind of have.
Are you Habasha? Are you Habasha, by the way? Are you Habasha, by the way?
No, I'm not Habasha.
He's not. He's a Bantu mixed Kushite.
Yeah, I'm a Bantu mixed with some Oromo. But anyways, you go to Ethiopia and you see guys holding hands, looking like a bunch of gay faggots out there. But when something is wrong,
that's okay. Arabs do that as
think
well.
about their culture.
That's
This guy's
okay.
gonna
Arabs
kill
do
you.
that, though. They hold their hands.
Arabs do it too. But you see, that's why Arabs beat the Americans, or at least pushed them out of their country. What country was it again? Afghan or whatever it was recently, right? So the issue is these people, they look really nice, but they're gonna kill you the moment you speak something against them. The Bantus, unfortunately, like I said, they're docile. Bunch of docile people, man. It just is what it is.
Dr. K, I want to respond. Dr. K, are you familiar with Ahmed Dere?
No, I'm not sure. Maybe
basically, he was a guy. Yeah, he was a guy. Basically, you know how Zanzibar was under Arab rule, right? Yeah, he assembled. I could send you the link.
Yeah.
He rounded up 20,000 Somalis. They invaded Tanzania around there, and they killed all the Arabs in there, and they freed the Bantu slaves of the Arabs. If you're familiar with them,
Dr. K.
Let me throw.
Hold on. Wait. Dr. K. In West Africa, right? Like you said, West Africa, yes, they've taken people as slaves, but generally don't have the history of where, they did, in Congo or around Tanzania area or Kenya to hold the people and enslave.
Yeah.
In West Africa, the tribes
let's talk about your country. Let's talk about your country. If you look at the Sahel region, the people of the Sahel region, Mali, Wolof, Mandinka, these people are not actually Niger Congo A. These are people from Sudan, of ancient Sudan. This is West Sudan.
Yeah, those are the tribes I belong to.
They came from Sudan. So these people have that, Nilo-Cushitic sort of basically warrior-like mentality. These are not the tribes that were enslaved. I mean, they were enslaved, but they're not the tribes who were decimated, right? They actually fought for their fought against their captors. We're talking about the average Niger Congo B person. bunch of niggas are just a bunch of useless people.
But
that
Dr.
are gonna allow
K,
other
you do
people to
realize,
walk over them.
sorry to interrupt, but you do
Dr. R,
realize it's
can
got
you
something
allow
to do
me,
with climate.
Dr. R?
No, but I just want to respond quickly from you. Hey, Dr. K, you do realize that countries that are desert, people that are desert, it tends to be more, they tend to be more aggressive, more different to the people that live in the greener areas. Do you think environment might have something to do with that?
It's to do with the culture. So let me
You know what? Let's
this.
allow. Actually,
So
we have Otabenga who's been here.
Okay, go ahead.
Hasn't said a word. Let's allow him to say something. Otabenga, welcome to the show. Otabenga, are you there? Otabenga, can you hear me?
Went to bed.
Okay.
Can I say what I was gonna say? Let's have unlimited.
Yeah,
Can I say something?
please? Well, Isuka, let me talk.
Okay, no worries. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I wanted to talk to that lady who was speaking before.
Imoya is here.
Yeah. And she said that they are nice because they're more human. And
Right.
I was literally laughing and falling from my chair. How are you human when you're killing your own cousin without any problem? But when a white man shows up, you are totally submissive. That is crazy to me, okay? It has nothing to do with being human or whatever. But let me finish though. To help a refugee is not to be submissive. It has nothing to do with being docile, to help somebody who's below you. And she said that because we helped Yemen did not help. Yemen did help us. And also Syria did help us under the war. And helping them back is not being at all. But we have to look back into history. The history says we have never been conquered by Arabs. Arabs never conquered in the Horn, especially Somalia. They never came and set their foot. They were just minority who came, and even until today, you don't see Arab ruling anything in Somalia. We have our 4 clans that's ruling the country. So for us, Arab is just another nation that we have been visiting, and we have been having trade for thousands of years. We even went the first African ambassador to China was a Somali guy, if I'm not mistaken. So far we went.
Yeah,
so
Sayyid al-Muqdisho.
Exactly. So it's crazy when people say, oh, because of Arab. Arab is just another race, like another people for us. You understand? Very minority by us. They never conquered, they never ruled anything in Somalia. So how can I feel submissive to somebody who really is the minority in my country? You understand what I'm saying?
Can I say something as well? I was gonna go back to the woman that made the points earlier, where she said that the Somalis are docile towards the Arabs. No, we're not. No, we are not. And if you're gonna say we're docile towards the Arabs, that means they've conquered us. When has an Arab man ever came to Somalia and conquered us? You tell me.
Never.
Before you make accusations with absolutely no backup or no information, no. Exactly. You cannot make. See, and let me finish my point. See, she said Somalia was conquered by the Arabs. She also made another claim and goes that the Horners are docile towards the Arabs. Do you not know the Ethiopians, the Kingdom of Aksum, conquered Arabia? They went as far. Exactly. They went.
She said that.
Listen. Yes, you did. We can replay it. Yes, you did.
You said that Ethiopians were
Let's go. You said the Horn. You said the Horn.
One at a time.
No, I didn't. I said Somalia.
Can I speak?
More.
Can I speak?
Let her respond more.
No. Can I finish what I'm saying?
Okay. When you finish, please let her respond.
No worries. She mentioned the Horn, and we can replay it. Do you not know that Ethiopia went and conquered Yemen as far north into Saudi Arabia and other parts of the Arabian Gulf? Do you not know that? Huh?
Yeah, it's not just. It's actually Eritrea, by the way.
Yeah. Basically, yeah.
Well,
the Habesha people conquered Arabia. Can I finish? The Habesha people conquered Arabia. So again, before you make accusations about the Horn, please come with proof. You can't just say that we're docile towards the Arabs with absolutely no proof. No Arab man's conquered the Horn.
She said Somalia. She didn't
say.
She
said Somalia first, and then she mentioned the Horn.
No.
So wait.
Okay,
hold on, guys.
That doesn't make any sense to me. There is no history. There is no written history where Arabs came in and conquered and dominated Somali people.
I never said they conquered
nowhere.
What I said was
you said we're docile. I mean, same thing.
How can we be submissive?
We are a little. Okay, can I? Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. What I said was Somalis, they helped the Arabs, right? But the Arabs would never help them the way that they helped them. Like I've seen.
But what is your?
They helped us.
Where is your
in the civil war, Yemen and Syria?
Go search
what
a
is your
YouTube
proof?
video of
I'm not
Libya.
talking about Libya. I'm talking about Syria and
Do you know what's going
Yemen
on in
that you
Libya?
said.
Do you know
Where?
Africans
Where
are
And
selling their
Libya is
people
not
to the
slavery.
Libyans? Do you know that?
Libya is in a civil war. My God.
Can I make a
This
point?
girl's so
Libya is not
sweet.
slavery.
Oh, no, I said it,
Oh
not
my
tell me.
God.
Wait. Can I make a point? Libya is not slavery. Libya is they catch Egyptians, which they did. They caught other people within the North African, within the Maghreb area. They've caught multiple people from different countries, and they're selling them out for ransom. Do you not comprehend that? It's a lawless country. They have no prime minister. Everybody's lawless over there. So they catch whoever comes to the country, and then they try to get as much ransom as they can from them. Before you use Libya as excuse, please do your research.
Right. So why are you helping the Arabs if they're over there doing that to
Again,
What the hell are you
Libyans are not
talking about?
do you
Arabs,
not
though.
comprehend what I said? Libya is a lawless country.
Libyans
It's a
not
lawless
Arab,
country.
though. Wait.
Yeah,
Libyans
whoa,
not Arab.
whoa.
They are Berbers, first of all. They are not Arab.
Can you
No,
not
they're
comprehend?
not
It's a
Arab.
lawless country. And a
Sudanese
lawless
speak
country with
Arabic.
no government.
Sister, let me ask you a
Abo,
question.
relax. Let me just
'cause-
finish.
Okay, finish your point.
No. I mean, Libyans are not Arabs. They are Berbers. You cannot just say because
please.
somebody speaks.
That's
Because
Arab.
somebody
Okay,
speaks somebody
wait.
Arabic doesn't mean they are Arab.
So Dr.
Arabs
K.
did help.
Yeah,
Arabs
I have
did
a really
help.
important question because I think we're speaking
Ask her.
over each other. Is Saudi Arabia not funding Al Shabaab and causing Somalia to be destabilized? Is that
Where's
not
your
one
proof?
of the main countries? Come on, we have proof of this.
Where's your proof? Because you made the
You're gonna
accusation.
argue.
Where's your proof?
I can put
Eritrea
it
is
up.
supposed to be. Eritrea has done, but that's a lie too. There is
Who's
somewhere
echoing?
Eritrea. I don't know. Somebody has. There is somewhere that Eritrea have been under sanction for 10 years because they were claimed that they have been supporting Al Shabaab, which is a lie. Which is a lie that the TPLF have concocted. We don't know who is doing this. We have Al Shabaab. We have many terrorists, but that's not
Okay.
beyond. She said that we are submissive to them because of the fact of what I don't know. I have no idea since when. They never came and conquered my land.
Amoya, I got a question for Amoya. Amoya, what do you think of those Africans that are selling their people to the Libyans, that are working with the Libyans? Because I've heard of many cases of where the Libyans will pay these people and they will basically send their own people and tell them that they will pay for their safe passage to Libya, but well, it's a trap. Because I've heard of many cases like that from many different Africans. What do you think of those Africans, those traffickers and their own families that sell these people to the Libyans? What do you think of the sellouts that are selling their own people?
I think that they are sick and they are neo-colonized. They're just money hungry and they're docile.
Okay. So now let's allow Otabenga to speak. Otabenga, did you fix your audio?
I'm on. Thanks for having me, bro.
No problem. Otabenga, the topic. Do you think Africans are naturally docile or they lack critical thinking skills like some accuse them of, and Dr. K have confirmed it here. But I said I observe it's certain groups, think a certain way and some behave in a docile manner. What do you think?
Well, first of all, you'll have to define what docile is.
Docile, where historically and up till now, any group that come in contact with African societies in general, Africans get dominated,
Submissive.
Right.
They're submissive to them.
Submissive.
I believe that when you have a problem, the best way to understand that problem is to go back to the source of that problem. And so I will share with you, a quote by the late Dr. Sheikh Anta Diop, who wrote a book titled The African Origins of Civilization, Myth or Reality. He said, the history of the world will be confused as long as we do not distinguish two primitive cradles where nature has shaped the temperament, the habit, the instinct, and the moral conceptions of these two groups of humanity before they met after a long separation dating back from prehistory. Now, what you see in some groups, as in human family, exhibiting a character that is aggressive, is in fact something that their environment has forced them to do. So Dr. Job distinguishes two types of environment, two primitive cradle. The first one, a very harsh one. These are the caves of Europe. These are the steppes of Eurasia. These are the desert of Arabia. People who evolve in that environment have no other choice than to be resilient, tough, and
be warlike.
Warrior-like, because there is no resources. The human beings are resources. You have to catch somebody and slave them. You have to catch women and enslave them.
So
now the second one.
So what? So
the second environment.
Yeah.
Well, let me finish the second environment. So the second environment is the cradle of humanity, meaning Africa. So these people who evolved for over 200,000 years ago in that environment evolved in a generous environment where you can even grab a fruit from a tree. There is no need for competition. You understand? So these people developed a social organization that does not oppress the woman, a social organization that we're sharing the concept Ubuntu. I don't know whether you ever heard of it. Ubuntu. This is in the southern part of Africa, which simply means I am because you are. The idea of community, the idea of not existing as an individual, but cooperating with other people. Now, if that's what you call docile, then yes, Africans are docile.
That's a bunch of low IQ docile nigga that should be a slave.
From a nomadic mentality. From a nomadic mentality.
Calm down.
Hold on, Ota. Let me ask you this. So you said all this, right? You gave the, like the Pan-African version of it. Like it sounds good. It sounds really good.
I gave you fact.
Wait, but now you take that same African, they are not so nice to the other Africans that look like them. So if you look at African history, there's no difference. The way Africans conquered each other is the same as Europeans conquered each other, in their continent.
The Africans are tribalists. They kill each other.
They're tribalists. They care about the tribe.
There's no Ubuntu in any African tribe, not even in South Africa, in the Zulus and the Veles and the Xhosa and all those tribes. Africans hate other Africans. They've been killing other Africans for thousands of years. The difference is Europeans and Arabs, they're kind of high level. They think about how to enslave everyone. Africans think about enslaving their neighbor. That's all they think about. Low level. Shit.
Can I go into that point? There was a person who...
Hold on. Otabenga. You remember, Otabenga, you know about the Atlantic slave trade, right?
Yes.
Okay. If Ubuntu was real, the Atlantic slave trade, right? How do you think most of the slaves they sold happen?
And that's exactly the point where I'm trying to get to, because you cannot just approach a problem like that by starting from 200 years ago or yesterday. You have to go back from the very beginning. So now that I explained the first part, what characterizes a nomad and what characterizes a sedentary people. A sedentary people is somebody that works the land. That's somebody who develops a social organization that is based on
Cushitic people are pastoralists, Bantus are land people. You're saying the same thing I already said. There's no need to say that.
So now you will agree with me that the history of Africa is a falsified history. Most of what we know here is something that has been taught to us by foreigners.
Wrong.
And when you conquer somebody, you don't teach them the truth about their history. You teach them what you want them to know.
No, I'll have to disagree. I'll have to disagree with you on this.
See,
because
I gave you a reference.
Hold on, I can assure you.
I gave you a reference. People check out African origin of civilization, and you will find your answers.
I have, but I have read this, and to be honest, I read it. It was cool whatsoever. Said Ante Job was just another, one of these educated Africans who are into the Pan-Africanist thing, and focusing on Egypt. And the region he came from, I came from same region. I don't know us to build pyramids, but this is what is being written. But there are many different facets to this. What Sir Ante Job is saying, there are people who cannot read or write English. Their understanding is based in tribe and religion. So you want to tell me they don't know their history? Because they are not, their history is not based in how Europeans would classify it to say, oh, we came across these black people, or to say this place Gambia or this region. No, different regions, they don't even see themselves as part of those people that were dealing with Europeans. They didn't see themselves as the same. That's why slavery was easier.
No, let me explain.
But we cannot. I want us to talk about things we can prove. I understand people want to talk about 10,000 years ago. I wish this show we had enough time to go into that. But I want us to talk about what we can prove, like what we can see to be true.
Can I say
something? I was going to interject, Afrodamus. It all depends. See, the question that you're going to ask is why are Africans docile? But then you have to go through. You have to look at specific nations that weren't docile, because I can name you several countries that weren't docile, that never accepted the Europeans. Basically the Europeans' way of thinking.
No, I'm aware. Yeah. That's what I just said. I'm even within countries. Yeah. Some, it's just over time. Again, some of these countries even became fully to be functioning like that when the Africans themselves took over. But many stayed as their kingdom. But some groups are more docile than others. That's my point.
As the other.
So one second, bro. Mo. So to answer your question simply is this. Whenever you look at Africans in general, they're talking about like Europeans aren't trying to help us. The Chinese are not trying to help us. They have this concept of people helping each other, which is very docile. What they need to be saying is, we have looked at our resources, we've looked at our power, and we looked at the leverages that we can put in the economic market. We are going to call for this amount of money for this cocoa bean. We're going to call for this amount for the coltan, cobalt, copper, and or oil, and this is simply trade. The issue with Africans is they want to say Europeans are bad because they didn't help us. But the Chinese are good because they help. No, Chinese is not. Nobody's helping you or doing bad to you. People are simply doing what is in the best interest to them, and it is up to you to do a trade deal that is beneficial to you. This is what Africans should be saying. Nothing to do with the word help. Do you know how many times I've seen the word help in Pan-African things? It's useless. It's a simple economic trade. That's it.
All right. Okay. So we have our warlord here all the way from Mogadishu. Mizi, welcome to the show here. Thank you for calling in.
All right. So welcome. I'm glad that you allow me to come on here, brother.
Oh no, you gotta, because in fact, I don't know if you saw this video of a African Pan-Africanist wanting, telling Black Americans to come and invest in Zambia. Take your reparation money, come to Zambia. Hear him for a second here.
Two. There's East Germany and West Germany. East Germany was run by Russia, and are poorer than the people in West Germany. It's very common in Germany for parents who belong to East Germany to tell their kids to marry someone from West Germany, because they are the rich people. They control everything. Welsh is his mom is Scottish compared to England. Okay. But you don't have to tell me to stop talking. If you don't connect with my message, just stop watching. Click with, that's fine.
But anyways, Mogadishu Mizi, this guy is
I know him well. I cooked him on my first live stream. He's actually in Australia. And he's the grandson of a prominent man from his country who sent him out to get education in his country, and he's not even living there. He constantly tries to tell Black Americans to go to his country to invest in mining. No.
Yes. Okay, so since you're familiar with him, we're talking about African docility. So I use this video as an example, because mostly when people think docility, they will think people yelling at you or using force, but sometimes it's in the thinking and the position you're putting yourself in. So do you think this video is right, within that docile thinking? Oh, this guy really plans it out. He has a plan.
He has a plan because he's like a staunch Pan-African.
Yeah.
So he has a plan, and his target audience are Black Americans with money. He's trying to get them to come, I guess, to replace the Chinese that are running through his country. But the original topic, brother, I really like this topic. I actually did a live stream called "Rest in Peace to the Docile Negro."
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I did that like maybe a year ago. I did it about a year ago. So now the question, are Africans docile?
Right.
It's selective docility. So that's the difference here. You can't just say that they're all docile because
I said most. Like some groups, I noticed some groups, it depends on what group they came from. So I'm asking, is it natural to some, and because even Europeans, you can tell when you read the history, people would say African, but there's certain groups they subjugated. They were able to subjugate outright.
Right.
Versus others.
So now check this out. Docile, right? We all know what the word means. So I say it's selective docility. Because if you take one ethnic group that has a problem with another ethnic group, they would never label that war or that battle a battle of two docile ethnic groups.
Right.
But selective docility.
We talk with the outside. Go for it.
All right. So selective docility is this. I'll bang on somebody that looks like me because there's no real gain except what they have. But when it comes to someone who has superior technology, things that we're amazed by, what I call nigger trinkets, they're going to be docile to them, which is why West Africa has been colonized, which is why East Africa, the Horn even, has been partially invaded for a while, and then it got kicked out.
Would you say they are docile too?
It's selective docility. Now, if you ask, hold on, I'm going to. If people would just let me speak without cutting me off, I'd really appreciate that. Because I'm not a docile Negro. Y'all know that already. So now check this out. If you can just look at Africa as a whole, Black America as a whole, we have docile Negroes in America.
Right.
Any nation who's speaking a language from another nation is already in a position of a disadvantage. They're subservient. If you are a Habesha, or if you are, a Horner, and you're practicing an Arab religion that you just accepted someone else's religion, which is tied into their culture as well. So there is a point of docility there.
How about Christianity?
Exactly.
Guys, let him finish.
Hold on. You wild Somalis. We got to get these wild Somalis. Put your AK-47s down.
This African American speaking.
Guys,
you have no talk for Somalis, mate. Your people got whipped and snaked by white men.
Wait. Hold on. I'm gonna get to the Somalis. But just let me speak. Just let me speak. Let me speak.
Let him finish, bro.
Let me finish, and then you can come back at me. Understand? I went from West Africa to the East. I can go to the South as well.
Talk nicely. Don't disrespect.
Hold on. Docility is through the whole of Africa. East Africa is no exception. When you have the English fighting the Dutch in the Boer Wars, the first and the second, over land that Africans were there for, and the majority, that is docility. Now, doesn't mean that they're weak. It just means that Africans on a whole haven't invested in what? Number one, there was no industrial revolution in Africa.
Right.
Their military has always been behind European military. So when you have military, then the docility can go away. Give me 50 Somalians or Somalis against 50 Europeans armed combat, hand-to-hand combat. I'll pick the Somalis all day. Same thing with West Africans. But where we go is that we look at what they have as something more important and more invaluable than what blacks have. And therein lies the docility. So selective docility, we want to kill each other easy. Black Americans will shoot you over stepping on their Jordans. Africans will bang on each other for where they allow their cows to eat. Hold on, bro. They'll kill each other over where their cows can graze in West Africa. They'll do that. So there's no docility against each other, but it's docility when that white man comes. So when they've got places in East Africa called Jesus fucking Christ, who is this goddamn person talking while I'm talking? Please let me finish. I got 20 seconds and I'll pass the mic. So yes, black people, Africans have docility in them. And it's based on a lack of military, economic, agricultural, and medicinal innovation. That's where it comes from.
Well said. Okay. Now we have Ogene in the house too. Let's allow him to speak. Ogene, go for it. Ogene, do you think Africans are naturally docile or they are selective in it?
Look, first and foremost, right? In courtesy of the host of this show, shout out to all my Gambian people, knocked out of the AFCON. He is what he is. Came back around to bite you today. Didn't take too long. Anyway, what I would say is this, right?
Thank you, bro. Thank you. Thank you.
We are very selective in our docility. I couldn't agree more with what Nakmizia just said there. I think that even in the case of, let's say, prior to the Berlin conference, or of whenever it happened, there were, like he stated, the height of our docility is the case. It's pretty much blatant in the case that European nations came together to fight themselves over gaining sovereignty of our lands and our ethnic nations.
But do you think
up to the point where they could actually join ethnic nations that they want to be in the same nation with other ethnicities? Now, the problem here is this, right? It's all about objective. So we go back to the reference that was made by a certain caller where he referenced a book written by some man, and you, Afrodemo, say you've read it as well. It was a certain group of people growing up in the cold of Europe, in the heat of the Sahara, and in the steppes of the Afro-Asiatic lands. You see, those group of people would tend to be more naturally aggressive in their quest for socio-political and economic conquests.
Yeah,
the reason is because they have an objective.
For it.
Yeah, the reason is because they have an objective. The Africans never had an objective, so they didn't have that goal, the vision. They didn't have any strategies or tactics. That's how it works. I think I'm not trying to downplay the struggles of African people, but it's been hundreds of years we've been going on in this in this roller coaster here of suffering and miseries. But what I'll say is, I do not think, as of this point in time, there are another group of people on the face of this planet who face more political and economic disenfranchisement compared to the African people.
So you think,
I would actually argue
that creates that attitude of docility, like it exacerbates it, like it gives it more fire.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily give it more fire. What I would say is that we must remember that there were wars between ethnic nations and colonial powers before the lands were colonized. So, of course, it's not full-on 100% docility. It was just lack of preparation. If the Fulanis have won their wars against the English, they would have never colonized Nigeria. If the Benin Empire won their war against English, they would have never colonized Nigeria. You know what I mean? These people just lack preparation because they didn't have the objective. Now, I will argue that where they were hundreds of years ago, when they moved to conquer
today's Africans' attitude, though?
I think that's only a few people, if I'm being honest. I think where they were before, the continent is now there now. And I think it's a natural order of things. It's a natural course of things. Nothing's going to stop it. And I think, just like everyone says, this life is a hula hoop. It just goes round and round. I think a group of these generations Africans are actually going to stand up to these powers, because now they are the ones that are living in, they are the ones that are living in abject poverty.
But it's a mental game, and also, you know, being able, you know, because you can stand up, but what are you standing up for? Like, you know, what is
because when we look at what they're going through, the problem is we analyze the group behaviors based on too many cases of just pretty much the regular secular individual. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are just a few cases. This is not the ultimate character of the African people. You understand what I'm saying? And what I'm saying is this, that we can also argue, just like, again, I'll repeat this, we can argue that where the Europeans and Asians were hundreds of years ago, we are now there.
Yeah, but we
I do believe that nature is going to take its course. So before we get all frustrated calling Africans
it's not a frustration. See, this is, if you say, because people have discussions on this, there's books written about this. It's just maybe most Africans don't like to read, but you know, people observe this nature and talk about it. So it's not like I'm sitting here trying to change anyone's nature, but
absolutely
I want to have
understand what you're doing.
Discussion of
and
what
the truth
I'm
of the matter
seeing.
is that overall, in assessing the group, that character is there. But I think that character is only blatant because you see the people that control what you see, people that control the media, those are the people that they've brought to the front of your eyes.
But what about prior to that?
Prior to that, there were certain wars that were fought. They just lost it. Once again, it's because of the lack of preparation. And when the colonial powers got their chance, they done everything to de-armor the African minds. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we're going through today. But what I called it to say really was to look for, if we're looking forward, I do believe that nature is going to take its universal course and its natural course, and things are going to turn around, because now Africans are finding themselves in the same place that the colonial powers found themselves hundreds of years ago. You understand what I'm saying? And I just believe that before we get frustrated that Africans and continents are so in a certain way, because we dealt with a couple of people from there, and we see their character in much of society. I just believe that nature again is going to take its course, like just looking forward, because we can't sit down and complain.
This is nature.
Everything is natural.
Okay.
Everything is natural. War is natural. Peace is natural. Love and hate, they're all natural. You know what I mean?
We have more. Hold on. We have Think Before You Type. He's been here for a minute. Let him speak too. Think, what's on your chest? You've been waiting for quite some time.
Can you hear me now?
Loud and clear.
All right, perfect. Yeah, I didn't want to just interrupt people. I wanted to make sure people get their points across. But first of all, this is hilarious, man. Even though I'm trapped in the snow here, here's a couple of things that I want to really make it clear to everyone over here. To actually say people are naturally docile is really incorrect, and they should really view that mentality in other aspects. But for example, to say Africans, they're docile, it's really kind of having an inferiority complex of your own people, of your own continent. You know what I mean? So here's an example. Like to say, to be docile, it has nothing to do with genetics. It has nothing to do with natural selection. It has nothing to do with any of that. People, for example, you have when African Americans were taken from Africa, enslaved, through European slave trade. Some people would say that, oh no, they're docile. I really disagree with that mentality, because even in the midst of going through all the hardship and suffering and torture amongst European imperialism and things like that, you have someone like Malcolm X who came arise from the ashes and was really, basically showing everyone what his people represent and who he is. So to just basically assume that, people are genetically or naturally are docile, it's one of the dumbest shit I've ever heard, honestly.
Well, no one is. So which question?
But no, they're saying they're saying that it's natural. They keep emphasizing that it's a natural selection type of mentality.
So what do
I
you
mean?
think? What would you say it is then?
So what it comes down to is basically comes down to with lack of information. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it really does come down to lack of information. The less information you have about yourself, about what you have,
Your
about your
environment.
history, your environment, things like that, of course you're going to be susceptible to other people that's going to, take advantage of you, in that situation. So that makes sense.
So but why do you think that is then if complete strangers have come to these African countries who only read about it and come there and dominate and take over, subjugate the people at times?
Yeah, so but at the end of the day, notice how we're also always emphasizing and giving credit to outsiders doing to us when also Africans throughout history was also populating and conquering other parts of the world. You know what I
But when
mean?
you say credit, like what do you mean?
This is what all right, so it's a good question. So for me to say, okay, what I'm saying is that a lot of these so-called Pan-Africanists, whenever they're trying to attack people from the Horn of Africa or Africans in general, when they have some sort of a shared, ideology with others, they somehow assume that, oh, you're adopting that mentality. You know what I mean? Oh, what happened to yours? Sometimes let's just be honest, especially when it comes to the terms of religious perspective, right? Islam, let's just say if Islam came about in Africa, right, and it was the truth, right, and it went and people from the Middle East and other parts they accepted it. Does that mean those people in other parts of the world are docile because they accepted something that was factual, historical fact, and you know what I mean? That's really the truth. So
Yes,
to say,
does mean that.
hold on. So to say that, the truth can come from any place in the world. So this is the mentality of what really sometimes in African people, especially people that so-called try to always claim about Pan-Africanists, they only assume the world revolves around them. No, the human beings is a collection of clans and tribes and ethnicities, right, all over the world. So the thing is other people can have certain certain information that we probably don't have, and we have information that they don't have, but regardless on how we interact is the key. So if somebody comes up to you, right, if somebody comes up to you forcefully and try to invade you, you have every right to defend yourself. But if somebody comes to you with like some sort of a logical ideology, that doesn't mean you just dismiss it, be like, oh, I'm just going to go back to, you know what I mean, worshiping.
Okay, hold on.
Bro, religion is not logical.
Hold
on. You really hold on. You really think religion is not logical? I guarantee you,
let's stay on
atheism.
topic though.
No, hold on. I know he's trying to say that because every time I come across some people who believe in atheism, I guarantee you
I'm
they
not
have
an
no
atheist,
logical.
bro. I'm an agnostic.
Agnostic is even.
Let's keep religion out of the
topic.
Guys,
All
one
right,
at a time, and please
ask me the question, Alfredanis.
let's stick with the topic. So think before you type. So what you're saying is, someone is echoing.
I want to ask Dr. K a question quick.
Can he just,
guys?
Yeah, Alfredanis, ask me the question, please.
So what you're saying is, you believe if it's about how much information you have, and if the information that the wider public runs on, like more people, that's what they subscribe to, and you don't have it. The group that doesn't have understanding of it, it makes them seem docile when they come in contact with the system that is running what the majority is following. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, honestly, like I just want to break it down into two. I know what you're coming at, but what I'm saying is that it's two parts, right? So for information, it's first of all, the first information is to know the value of who you are, who your people are, your area, your land. That's the first information that any African or anybody should know: their tribe, their clan, their ancestors, their land, right? So if somebody comes in outside, and this is what I'm
tribes,
saying.
wait, those tribes, right? They knew their people. They knew who they were.
No, they didn't, because if they did, no colonial, force would out, nobody would invade them and they would just lay down, so easily, because people that know who they are, that know their people, you know what I mean, that are well connected. If any outside force try to come in and forcefully, European colonialism try to forcefully impose on their concepts, they would, and it doesn't align with theirs, they would automatically reject them. And if when they reject them, and if they try to force them, then they would automatically fight them. That's what I mean. So a lot of the people that adopt it and they try to put European concepts, in a high note, is because mentally they accepted that.
Mr.
T, I got a question for you.
Wait. Okay, Dr. R, ask him quick, and I want Mogadishu also to say.
No. Can I say I was going to say a point, Dr. Fabrimus? I had to wait for a long time.
It's Dr. R's echoing.
I was kind of next.
Dr. R.
Okay, so one at a time.
Okay.
Can I speak
Dr. R
first?
has a question.
Dr. R, ask your question. And
I just wanted to ask one question for Dr. K and one question for Dr. T. Dr. K, did your tribe conquer Amoya's tribe? And T, why the fuck did most African countries, apart from few, adopted European languages? Because that's docility to me.
Yeah, so my mom's tribe, the Wanga/Pau, the Uganda Kingdom, conquered a tribe, and that's the thing. She's trying to equate.
Because your tribe, I googled your tribe. Your tribe has really conquered that tribe, hasn't it? They actually did.
Yep. Exactly. But listen, Amaya, do not put my mom's tribe and the other Bantu useless tribes. They're not docile. We enslave people and we conquer people. It's not the same thing.
Okay.
See, can I speak now?
Yeah.
I was gonna
Can I just answer that question, Mo?
No.
Can I just answer the Dr. R question in terms of why Africans adopted European languages, languages like that? It's a really good question. So, for example, a lot of times when I don't know, I can hear myself echoing. All right. So a lot of times where you have, outside forces, they can easily influence, areas, regions. Those people, and I've noticed a lot of people in the West Africa and other parts they speak French and they put a lot of European languages above anything else. So a lot of times
you're right about that.
Yeah, so they use their language as the main language. They use a lot of the Western Europeans mentality above theirs. So that part,
Can I interject? For example, India, for example, I'll give an example with some colonies. Like if you go to Pakistan or India, they speak their indigenous languages and they speak and teach English in that language. But the majority of people in those countries, they speak their indigenous language.
Yeah, it's the same way. It's the same way. It's the same way.
And only me. You're really only me. You really make a lot of great points, and I just want to say one last thing is that
hold on, no, wait.
The lack of information. One thing. Lack of information is one thing, right?
Hold on. We gotta go in sequence here. Let's have hold on. Where I have my queue here. We have Mogadishu, Mizi, then we have only me. Then we'll come to you more. Go for it.
All right. So I think what you just said is great because I think there needs to be order restored to the panel. People say, I just have a question, but then end up going on other people's time. Let's just be quiet when someone says something and then just cut them up when they're done if you disagree. Now, the brother said something about people who know themselves won't be conquered. That's bullshit. Just knowing who you are isn't enough. You have to have military and you have to have a warrior spirit. And that warrior spirit has to be directed to the ops, so to speak. But if you don't see Europeans as the ops and you see them as someone superior, then you're always going to be in a position of not in a position of power, of a position of subservience. Now we talk about
point.
Oh, well, okay, great. I just asked you not to cut me off, so pay attention to that point too. Now, when we talk about religion and Islam, do you understand that Islam is the Arabs' religion? Number one. Let's just stop it. It was revealed to the Prophet Muhammad, rest in peace. or peace be upon him, in Saudi Arabia, right? So it's their religion. He's from the tribe of Quraysh. It's not a black African religion, but it's all in Africa. When you are practicing someone else's religion, when your language is peppered with their words, the Somalis on here probably can't say peanut butter because they say their P's like their B's. Peanut butter. Y'all sound like Arabs. So when you sound like Arabs, you can say you're not an Arab, but because you embrace their religion, you're always going to be seen as docile and subservient. That's why if you look in the Twitter sphere, the Arabs and the Somalis are going back and forth at each other. But you're always going to be in a place of losing if you're trying to come at them and practicing their religion. Take it back to the West Africa. There were Africans that stood up against the Islamic incursion into West Africa. They stood up. But like Aphrodama said, most Africans are docile. And the ones that stand up to fight against these incursions end up being outnumbered. So you think about Donald Trump, right? He's an alpha. He's an asshole too, right? But he's an alpha. And when you move from a position of power, you have to have the resources to back up that position of power. And I always bring it back to this. If Africans have not had an industrial revolution, if Africans have been the face of aid, if Africans have been the face of poverty, and that's an old school thing, but you still have remnants of that today, you have to accept the fact that if you speak in European languages, if you're practicing Arab religions, there's no way that you are going to be seen as anything but docile. Now, against each other, you can play the Oromo versus this one and the Awe versus the Ga and all of this other stuff. But what you're doing is you're vying for the position of the smartest retard or the tallest midget. And I give it back.
Thank you,
All right.
Nagmizi.
That was directed to me.
Hold on.
Afrodamus, that was directed to me. Afrodamus, I have to respond because that was directed to me. He said a couple of things that was completely false. So you got to let me respond.
Guys,
I know, but listen, you got to. Afrodamus, if somebody called you out, right, and said something to you, you have to respond.
You will get a chance.
I've been waiting for one. Can I?
Please, let's follow this.
Mo, can I have your time and I'll give you yours.
Please, only me. Go for it.
Okay, the brother wants it very badly. I'm gonna just make it very short here. One thing I agree with Mr. Mogadishu today is when you're speaking other people's language and it is above your own language, then you're definitely a docile, right? African countries are literally fighting over French and English. That is one sign of it.
Cameroon.
Yeah, not only one country, but every country, like in Africa, either we have Arabic or we have Spanish or whatever, or English or French, right? So that is the language. And you know, people when I ask this question, people say, well, it's the language that of progress. But the thing is, Chinese speak still Chinese, and they are very progressive. And Japanese do the Japanese too. So I don't understand why the African are so stick to these European languages to begin with, or Arabic for that matter. You can learn anything you want with your own language. You can fix your language up. Just try to get one of your native languages. It doesn't matter how many tribes you are. Just come together and choose one and go with that. That's what I believe. And today I hear people saying, when they talk about the colonial, they say colonial masters. And that is so crazy to me to hear that word.
Only me. That's important that you pointed that out, because the words that people use, it conditions the person. When you say colonial, it's master. Like I've even had an African correct me when I didn't have, when I said the colonialist. He said, well, you mean the colonial masters?
There you go. That is
because he's been conditioned to see that as the correct way of saying it.
Yes.
Because they put the English language above.
And look at the judges and the lawyers. They all wear
the
wigs. Blonde wigs.
Oh my God. Oh, we're conquered. Oh my God.
Telling you,
oh, only me. You just came to remind me. Oh my goodness. Oh, not the wigs. She just mentioned the wigs.
The blood.
I forgot.
It is crazy to me, right? And then you speak in their language and you're calling them colonial master. Of course, you're submissive, right?
You're docile.
Now, let me come back to Mr. Mogadishu. Yeah, religion goes for Christianity. Christianity is also from the Middle East. It's a religion. Chinese people, there are some who practice, and European, whatever, right? So billions of people practice this. It's not only African kind of thing, right? So that's a religion thing. But the thing is, when he says that we don't say be because of Arabic, this is crazy. We speak Afro-Asiatic language. Arabic is our family, in our family, language family. So we will have a lot of things in common with this language, right? So we speak Cushitic and they speak Semitic. So you have to know languages, science of the languages to understand these kind of things, but it's not so difficult though.
May I ask you one quick question? I'm sorry. You said you're in the same
again, man.
Family.
He can respond, but I can't respond.
Wait, hold on. How did you get into that language family?
I will tell you.
It's because Afro-Asiatic came from Africa.
Let me tell him. Listen, he asked me the question, please. I'm going to go soon anyways. Mr. Mogadishu.
You don't want to talk to
This is how it goes. This is how it goes. There were people who lived in the Horn of Africa 12,000 years ago. These people went to the north and to the Middle East, and they introduced actually this language to the Middle East. This language is Afro-Asiatic, is actually from the Horn of Africa. You can read by any linguistic science, they tell you this language is from Africa. Why? Why we know this? Because in the Middle East, there's only Semitic language that you find, which is Afro-Asiatic. In Africa, you find Berber, Cushitic, Chadic, many different branches of Afro-Asiatic, which means it has
Fulani.
and Hausa. No, Fulani not. But anyway, this shows you that this language is originated in the Horn of Africa. These migrants went to the Middle East and introduced this language to the Middle Eastern, and that's how they speak now Semitic. So it's not, it is actually, we went there and introduced, it's not the other way around. This is, you can read about Afro-Asiatic languages, but that is what I'm saying.
Thank you, I
we
appreciate it.
live in one family, yes, that's what it is.
Now,
can I speak now? I've been waiting for a while.
Mo, let me add one thing, yeah? Let me add
No, please, can I say, I've been waiting for a while.
This guy said,
can I speak?
Abu Hamad Egypt, no.
Hold on, think before you type. Mo didn't give you his time, so just let him. He's right. He's been here for a while. He didn't say anything.
So this is what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna answer a couple of things that Muqdisho Mizi said. Firstly, he mentioned the fact that if you take an Arab, as he called it, an Arab man's religion, then you're docile. And I'd like to counter that. That's an incorrect. That's incorrect what he said, because firstly, if you knew about the history of the Somalis, that we've been doing trading with the Arabs, and we also believe in monotheism, we also believe in one God. You do know that when that came to us, we knew that it was the truth. Just like many other people believe in religion, we believe that religion to be the truth. So again, just because we've taken a religion doesn't mean we're docile, as you put it. And you said that it's an Arab man's religion. If you knew about the context of Islam, which I won't get into, Islam did not start with an Arab man, or the idea of Muslim. If you research Islam a bit more, you would understand that.
Yeah, and I would like to buttress.
Wait. Let's have the Islam conversation, bro.
Hold on. Before we, guys, let's not get into that yet.
I will cook this.
Niger hasn't spoken yet.
Wait. Can I finish? Can I finish my point? Can I finish my point?
No, he's an
okay, Mo, make it quick so we get to two Nigers also.
Okay.
Make it quick.
So
we have who else here? Proud Koshedek, who also hasn't spoken in a while.
Yeah. So he made it seem as if that we accepted Islam through some sort of duress. We accepted Islam through some sort of by force. We never accepted Islam.
No, you didn't. I know, and yes, actually, the Horn of Africa is the exception. Islam was not forced on the Horn of Africa. You guys accepted it. I know that for a fact. Islam was forced on West Africa to duress, to trade.
So again, it comes back to your point. It comes back to the point that you said that we were docile. If you knew the meaning of docile, then you wouldn't say that.
Well, look, bro. You're practicing Islam, and that's not your original thing. What?
the
How
hell
do
are
you
you
know
talking about? Mo,
Wait, wait,
Mo,
wait, 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 let me finish. Let me
Mohammed
finish.
Musi, would you say that about the
Finish.
Greeks or the Iranians, the
Bro, I'm getting
Persians?
too many
Would
people
you say the
interrupting
same
me.
about them?
Okay, one at a time. One at a time.
No, I want to ask Musi a question.
Wait,
Would
wait.
you say that? Would you? No, no. Let me finish. Would you say the same about the Greeks? The Greeks used to practice the ancient religion thousands of years ago. Today they're Christian. Today the Iranians used to practice the old fire worship religion. Today they are Muslim, but they follow a different branch of Islam. Would you say the same thing to those people?
Well, who is this and where you from?
Doesn't matter. Answer the question, man.
No, I need to know who I'm talking to be able to
Wait,
answer.
you're speaking to me. You're speaking to me because I'm having too many people interrupt me. So yeah, go on, ask.
No, he was Dr. R. Dr. R was the one that asked. And okay, guys, right after Nagnizi Mogadishu responds to this, please let's allow Niger to speak on this. I'm sure.
Let's go back to the topic, though.
Yes,
we can go back to the topic.
Okay,
guys.
Afrodamus, I never finished my topic.
Let me respond to the guys. Hold on, let me respond.
Let's go back.
Can I finish what I was saying?
You're not gonna
Because I was very
respond if I
quiet when you
didn't
guys
get
were
a chance to
speaking.
respond to them.
No, you can get a chance, but can I say my point? Can I just say my point?
Worse than Jareer's.
McNasty, right? You over here,
Easy.
McNasty. You yourself said.
Y'all acting real
Order.
Okay, guys.
Meezy, can I just say my point, please? Because I was gonna say something before everyone just started jumping in.
Okay, Mo, make it quick. You got 30 seconds. Make it quick.
Okay. So again, if you knew about the history of Islam, it did not start, or the ideal of Muslims, it did not start with the Prophet, the Prophet Muhammad. It did not start with him.
All right.
Wait, don't go there.
Fine. Mo. You know, you repeated yourself there.
But let me take it there, Afrodamus, please.
No, wait.
Let me cash in this cookout ticket.
You cookout. You've been getting cooked out easily, man. You can't. You got nothing. Here's what you said. No, hold on. Here's what he said. Right. He said in order to get invaded.
Hold on, guys.
You say in order to get invaded, you have to know who you are.
Let
right?
me respond to you, bro. Just let me respond. You
didn't even let me make a point, man. You over here talking the whole time.
Point. Let me respond to your
You're talking to someone else, but I'm trying to tell you right now. You said two things that was falsely, man. You said in order to get, in order to get invaded by others, you have to. That means you don't have to know who you are, but you just have to know. You have to have a strong army and things like that. You can't get a strong army without knowing who you are. How the hell are you going to surround yourself with like-minded people if you don't know who you are as individual? Let me finish. Again, you got to practice what you preach, man. Let me finish.
But you're not making sense, bro. Wrap it up.
Let me finish, and then you're saying the same thing. Don't stop crying right now.
Hold on, guys.
So he said, in order. All right. I'll make it quick, but he said a couple of things that was false. So for him to say that, in order, to defend yourself, you have to have armies and things like that. How the hell are you going to have an army if you have no concept of who you are individually and collectively? So that's number one. Your whole theory got demolished. Second thing.
Okay, so now let me respond back.
Let me finish. And then you can respond.
What country has the strongest military in the world right now?
Again, notice how you over here trying to sniffle, right?
No, wait. You asked one.
Finish.
Let's deal with one and then go to the next.
Number one, your whole concept of knowing who you are was false. Second,
okay, so let me
give. Listen. You try to give Donald Trump. Let me finish though. Hold on. Why are you over here? You're the one who's scared.
You did one. Let me answer that and then go to the next one.
No, let me finish the whole point and then you can respond.
You're trying to just overload me with questions.
No, you gotta control this. This is ridiculous.
Hold on, guys. Okay, Niger, go for it. Niger, can you hear me?
Thank you.
This guy's scared, man.
Niger, go for it.
This thing, these guys are.
Tonight just hugged up with his fat English wife.
Niger, what happened? Okay.
So Afrodamus, I'm gonna make a point, and then this guy don't let him try to interrupt me, because every time I try to make a point, he's interrupting me.
Yeah, but okay.
Right. So this is what I'm trying to say, right?
Wait. You're going to follow your own rule.
Exactly.
He's not going to interrupt you, but make it fast, and when he's responding, don't interrupt him.
Like I said, I give him the chance first. All right. So here's the thing, right? So first he said, in order to protect yourself from outside forces invading you, you have to have an army, you have to have a powerful and things like that. But the whole concept for him is that he doesn't even realize, in order to have an army, in order to have a strong will and things like that, it starts with knowing who you are as an individual, and then you start having collective mindset and then you can defend yourself. So his theory in that whole concept of saying that you don't need to know who you are first is completely false and trash. Second thing, he tried to include saying that believing in the concept of one God, which is universal. Islam did not start with Arabs. It always existed long before, since the creation of the universe, right? Adam is one of the, in the prophets that we believe in. So that's the whole concept. So every human being's always believed in the concept of one God. Again, I'll put that on the side because he has no concept of what Islam is. So third, he tried to make it Donald Trump. He said make it first, and I'll make it. He tried to say Donald Trump is what alpha male. Donald Trump is one of the most college people in the world.
Hold on.
Let's not stay on topic.
Hold on, guys.
Let me kill him, Afrodamus. I'll be quick. I say it and then I pass the mic. I say it and I pass the mic. So his first thing about having to know yourself to have an army are totally disconnected. Shaka Zulu, those people were the same people that got washed by the English. If I ask you what is the strongest army in the world right now,
America.
It would be America. Now, Americans are not monolithic. Wait, hold on. Someone's echoing. Americans are not monolithic in religion or belief, not even political. So it doesn't matter that the people have to be the same. No, what matters is your military innovation. Now we go to Islam. All right. Islam was started by or was revealed to the Prophet Muhammad by the angel Gabriel in Saudi Arabia. It's and the Prophet Muhammad was of what tribe? The tribe of Quraysh, right? He wasn't a Somali, he wasn't Habsha. So you as a Somali or anybody else who's practicing Islam understands that that is the religion of the Arabs. That's why you go to Saudi Arabia, right? That's why your languages are peppered with Arabic. Okay, so don't try to say that, Islam is yours and all of that stuff. It's keep it 100. It's an Arab religion. That's why you go to the Arab
Who was
world.
against the Prophet? Was it the Arabs or was it other people? So
It doesn't matter.
He got caught again. He got caught again. The Arabs.
We don't have to argue about this. We know
Okay,
Islam
guys,
came from
guys,
But
Arabia.
he's not making no sense. He said it's an Arab religion, but yet
Yes,
I don't give
Islam
a
came
shit
from
about
Arabia
Islam.
and we
Say
accept
something.
it.
Guys,
There's nothing to fight about
guys,
now.
this
Can we
this is
continue
not
the topic,
this is
please?
not what the topic is about, please.
My God.
Tunaja, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, Tunaja, thank you for calling in. So Tunaja, I'm sure you've heard, everything that's been said. So, what's on your mind? Please, Tunaja, I know people descended to Islam, but let's please bring it back to the topic, which is are Africans naturally docile, when they're dealing with other groups? Or it's like certain groups of Africans who have this docility which dominate, most of Africa. You go for it.
I'm not gonna say they are docile because they have, been involved in, empire creation and wars and stuff like that. I think what's happened is that the ones in the north, after they were defeated, left the door open for the rest on the continent to be exploited, and the ones in the continent haven't had enough time to expand their empires and stuff like that. And besides, they were fighting each other, so they prioritize fighting each other over fighting the enemy. And that is the greater politics that they didn't understand very well. So, like today now, if you see that they are tribalistic, they reserve most of their, aggression for tribalism and fighting each other within countries. What they lack is the ability to understand that there is a greater game out there.
Like a great. Wait, when you say game, you mean in terms of like threat or in terms of gaining?
Yeah, a greater threat out there than just tribal. That's just the downside.
So you're saying so you think that creates the docility when they're dealing with other people other than their own?
That is one, and secondly, they were defeated, and in they were defeated and enslaved. So the culture was manipulated in such a way that they don't necessarily teach them the old history of the enemies that enslaved their forefathers and, you know, colonize them. They teach them as if it's a benevolent
Tunaja, why do you keep saying they?
Because the people that gave the independence, it wasn't through
No,
war.
I'm talking about today. I'm talking about like Africans. Are you referring to Africans as they?
Yes. The Africans themselves that are governing their countries, they didn't go to war.
But aren't you African?
To gain independence. Pardon?
Aren't you African?
I'm an African. There are people that are very much aware of it. This is what the consciousness we are trying to raise in terms of getting our people to understand a bigger threat that Africans need to. As a matter of fact, our leaders do. They've been putting a lot of things in place to make sure that the continent.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you next. So, Tunaja, do you think, since the leaders are the representative, are they docile, most of them, in their dealings with other outside powers?
You know what? I don't. If you want to say yes, they are docile. If you look at it from that point of view, but I think they are deciding to play a different game than if you look at what they've achieved. This is the kind of wet dream of Kwame Nkrumah. What these people have achieved playing this kind of game they are playing, and they've managed to get the Continental Free Trade Agreement, Common Passport Agreement, Defense Pact, all these things. They are talking about even stopping wars within countries now. So they are going about it a different way.
Who, Africa?
Yeah. African Union. They call it the Silencing the Gun this initiative. Silencing the Gun initiative is to stop conflicts, even within nations now. So if they are able to achieve these things, these are the kind of things Kwame Nkrumah would have killed to have.
No, but I'm not. We're speaking of the nature itself.
See, like I said, if you want to go in a crass way to describe it, you will say yes, they are docile, because you can say, why are they not screaming for the roof that these were our enemies, like the Malian president?
But what would that do?
Currently doing exactly. That's my point. You have to understand when to strike. These people, what they are doing, because that defense pact is a very cunning thing that they did there. Because if another country from outside now decide to invade another African country, that could trigger it. That's a form of NATO. It could trigger it.
So the Africans would finally come together and defend.
Yeah, it's in a backdoor way, creating a kind of backdoor NATO. That's what they did there. And the way they do these things is very, very subtle.
So more control over Africans.
More control over their own destiny. But they haven't. They don't have it yet. They know that themselves. They don't have it yet.
Okay.
And
so that comes down to the.
Okay, let's allow. Hold on. Let's allow Imoya to say something. Go ahead, Imoya.
My responses to Dr. R. The Acholi tribe was never conquered by any.
Dr. K?
That is a lie. And also, Somalia was actually conquered by the Italians. That's why y'all are colorists.
Wait. You know Somalia was split into three. You do know that, right?
Again, I know a stupid girl doesn't know nothing.
Wait. Let me know. Oh, let me correct her.
The tribe were never conquered by Bantus.
Wait. Imoya.
Let me correct you. More.
All right.
Don't worry, more.
Your people are slaves to Bantus.
Hold on. Dr. R, let her talk.
Never
Guys.
colonized by no Bantus.
Dr. R, let her talk. I want to respond to this.
Yeah, I mean, how are you going to respond if you don't know what she's saying? Let her talk.
Remember when they came and they said that my tribe was colonized by Bantus? That is a lie. That is a lie.
So let me give logic. So the Acholi tribe.
Can I respond?
1 second. No, bro. It's a single. Point out to me. 1 second. The Acholi tribe is a Luo tribe. They speak the Luo language. My tribe, the Wanga people, conquered, enslaved, and sold them to the Arabs. The Luo people are part of your people, my girl. They were enslaved. I'll put the link on the back.
Exactly,
Exactly.
Exactly.
I would be speaking Bantu, and also,
can I respond?
When the British came, your tribe, the Bantu, the Buganda, y'all kissed the British ass.
Yeah, we did because. Yeah, we did 100%.
Yeah. We actually fought the British. We went to war with them. Y'all didn't even do anything and contribute to the country. Y'all are sellouts. That's why the new president.
We are sellouts.
Yeah, I mean, he was not Bantu. He was Nilotic, and he actually stood up for our country.
Sis, I agree with you. We did sell out to the British, and we got control of the other.
Amoya, can you admit to me that your tribe's inferior?
No. I want to respond to this. You made several claims.
My tribe didn't sell out to no British. We did not.
Wait, Imoya, I'm gonna correct you. Wait, listen. I'm gonna correct her. She said Somalia was colonized by the British. No, by the Italians. Wrong. The southern part of Italy was colonized by the Italians, but the northern part of Somalia, called Somaliland, was a protectorate. It was never colonized. The northern part of Somalia was never colonized, and that's the information you got wrong. Only the southern part of Somalia was colonized. Second point. I want to correct you.
More. To be fair to Imoya, right?
Yeah.
There's been people are saying this in the private chat, so please, let her respond.
Second
part. She's been told in the back. Let her finish. She's been
Go ahead,
told in the back saying that you are conquered. Let her talk. She's responding. No, she didn't interrupt. Let her finish what she's saying. Okay, go ahead, Imoya.
Bantus of Uganda. Bantus all over Africa, actually, they have been enslaved, taken as slaves. And speaking of Bantus, the one over there in Uganda, he's the one who got slapped. So if you're so inferior, then why did you let an African American walk into your country and slap you? That would have never happened if they would have.
So you're saying they are docile? You're saying Bantus are generally docile?
Yes, they let them smack them. That didn't happen in northern Uganda. That was southern Bantu people.
Why is northern Uganda poor? The south is rich.
See,
Uganda is in charge of the whole country.
Okay, Dr. K,
can I respond now?
Yeah,
bro,
listen.
No, please, let me speak for a while, brother. I want to say something.
More. That was for Dr. K.
No, I want to respond to the first point that she said about Somali colonization.
No, hold on. You would have your chance, but she was talking to Dr. K.
So let me put the logic here. I don't know if I agree with you. Bantus are useless, docile people. You are right. My mom's tribe is the Wanga tribe. And
you're Bantu.
Hang on. Okay, fine.
Hang on, Imoya.
So my mom's tribe enslaved your people, the Luo people of the Acholi tribe. They were enslaved. I put the documents on the back chat in 3 minutes after this. Also, when you're talking about, bro, you mentioned Mo, you said about Somaliland being a protectorate. Uganda and also the Wanga of Kenya were also protectorate. It's the same thing. Enslaved.
Yes, that means they were colonized.
It's the same thing. They also
Dr. K, is your mom Oromo?
No, my dad is.
So then you follow. If you know about the Cushitic traditions, then you follow your father's what's it called? Origins.
This is just African. This is all Africa. They all follow the same thing.
So Dr. K, you agree with Imoya about the docility comment?
100%. Bantus in general are a bunch of docile people. Now, I do agree the Nilot tribes, they're not as docile, apart from the ones from Sudan. I'll give you an example. I'll put the video in the backlight. The people of Sudan, during the slavery of the Arabs, they were beating themselves up so that they can prove that they're going to be good slaves. I'm going to put this video. It's very disturbing.
You mean the Dinkas?
Yes. They used to. So these Nilots used to beat themselves.
I've heard about that
video, bro, right?
Yeah,
same shit.
They were beating themselves, showing that they're the strongest slave, and praying that the Arab will actually select them to be.
I think I've seen something about that. The Dinkas do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with Dr. K. The southeastern Bantu countries tend to be.
I'm going to say something.
Wait, hold on. Wait, you spoke for like many times. Let me get my point in.
Yeah,
so I think the Horn of Africa is the exception here.
I agree.
The argument Misi brought up forward was the religion argument, right? Just because we adopted a particular religion, that means we are docile. I don't think that's particularly the case, because just because you adopt an aspect of someone else's culture into yours.
Okay, wait. Tuneja, would you consider the religion acceptance as docile?
Religious acceptance, that's the fact that they accept a religion. That's a tricky one. I don't think they are docile. Even the religious ones are still very, very bloodthirsty when they want to be. So if you notice on the continent, the conflicts that happen in some countries is still from some highly religious groups, and it's just a misdirected aggression. If you look at the this in the diaspora, to the same thing, you cannot call this in African Americans docile, can you? But at the same time, they are not pointing their anger at the right source to defeat it properly anyway. So that is the same thing that's happening on the continent. We are not docile. We've just lost the culture of actually focusing on the right enemy.
So, Tuneja, what do you think about the you know, a Buganda man here telling a Acholi about how they enslaved them. So Africans do enslave each other, right?
They do enslave each other because they are in conflict with each other.
Huh?
Europeans did enslave each other when they were defeating each other. This is not new.
So the Bugandas defeated the Acholis. Is that what?
See,
It's a lie.
nobody
Bantus were
should
taken as
believe,
slaves
nobody should
everywhere.
buy the idea that Africans are docile. If you think Africans are docile, then go and trigger them. When you trigger them, then you find out. These people are not docile people. They are not just directed properly.
Are they just shy? Are they just shy?
Why would they be shy? I don't think they are shy.
I don't know. I don't want to leave anything
What
off the
Mogadishu
table.
said, I think, is the most accurate.
What Mogadishu said. Okay. Well, we have H Block.
Selective docility. Selective docility.
H Block, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing well. H Block. So, can you hear me?
Congrats to Gambia, bro. I'm coming to South Seattle to collect my jersey, bro. I hope you got my jersey for me.
Oh man, I gotta order something. You know, the Nigerians are happy that Gambia got out. I know they have this jealousy, but just wait.
Yo, didn't they get eliminated by Tunisia?
No, Cameroon.
No. I'm talking about Nigeria.
Yeah, Nigeria Gambia eliminated them because when Gambia beat Tunisia, the Nigeria, I think Nigerians are like, oh, small Gambia. Oh, we don't need to even practice. And then,
yeah, man. Hey, it's 2022, man. So African football powers changed. Nigeria and Ghana, they're not the big boys anymore, bro.
That's right. So, Javier, what do you think about this topic here? And from what you heard, from your area of Africa, Kenya, Ethiopia, the Horn of Africa, because you're familiar with the tribes there. Are some of groups are they just naturally docile?
Yeah. Okay. I hate to agree with Mogadishu Misi, man, but he made a great points. Except the religion. I'm not going to get into religion. He was wrong about that. But like in Africa, some tribes are more docile than others. Mm-hmm. Like in Horn of Africa, if you look at the Luo tribes and the Cushitic tribes, are not docile at all. I don't think they're docile at all. Because these people, they've always been aggressive. They've always been in the war way before the Arabs came, way before the Europeans came. But like if you look at the other Africans, for example, Congo, Africans that live in a better environment, much lush environment. You know what I'm saying? Africans that got it better are more docile, if that makes sense.
So Africans with abundance, got it.
That?
You're saying Africans with abundance of
resources. Yeah, they're more docile.
They are more docile because they are just laid back.
I want to respond back to him.
Go ahead.
I want to respond to Hawiya, man.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Why don't you just admit it, man, that some tribes are docile because some tribes are inferior because of their docility?
Yeah, Cushitic tribes are not docile, though.
Like I'm telling you, right, in general, there are some tribes in the world, whether it's in South America, Europe, Africa, the Middle East, Asia, there are certain tribes in the world that are docile and inferior because I believe there's a correlation between docility and inferiority complex. There's no denying that.
Yes.
I do agree with you to a certain point. I mean, Africa is the most victimized continent,
But why is that?
But B, can I ask you a question as well? The brother that was speaking.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
See, if I'm looking at it from a different point of view, if you look at the Kushites, they've never been subjugated. No, white, Arab, I don't care, a man of every fucking color. Nobody has ever come to a Kushite and said, no, you're going to work under us. Because again, that's the point they made earlier. Kushites live in a sandy area where camels and
hostile,
basically nomads. See, again, tough times create tough men, while weak times create weak men. I think it comes back to that saying.
That's true.
That's why. That's the reason why I say Bantus are useless. The Portuguese enslaved them. The Arabs enslaved them. The whites tried to enslave them. I'm saying they target the Bantus for a reason.
Yeah, it's our Cushitic genes.
If you look at Kenya,
there's a coast in southeastern Africa called Zanj. In southeast Africa, there was a coast specifically from Kenya to Tanzania, to Mozambique, and to
The Arab slave
Zanzibar.
trade that happened from Kenya to Swahili coast through Zanzibar and a little island. I forgot another. I forgot the name of it. But the whole Swahili coast has been enslaved by the Arabs, specifically the Omanis. They came there.
Who's echoing?
Who's echoing? Basically, they came through the Swahili coast. They enslaved the Bantus, and I think it was the 15th century, it was the Somalis that went into Kenya, Mombasa, and freed the Swahili people from the Portuguese. Again, it was us helping the Swahili people out.
And the Arabs as well.
Yeah, exactly. And we fought the Arabs, we fought the Omanis, and we chased them back into the Arabian Gulf. That's another thing we did. We've been helping people that the Bantu people from other people, but yet again, they're not helping themselves. They fight amongst each other. Oh, another African man, I'm gonna kill him because he's gonna take my power. When a white man comes, they feel inferior. Bro, you should take the. Look, I'm not trying to say that all Bantus are like this, but what I'm trying to say, majority are. If you take the Kushite playbook,
not all group. See, the thing is, people want to qualify it. Look, it's about common sense. Anyone with common sense knows. Hold on, Dr. R. Hold on. People know that it's not going to be every single one of them.
Yeah.
Like no single group is going to behave exactly 100%. So no need to qualify. But
I just want to respond quickly. I just want to respond quickly before I mute up. Mo, I want to make two examples. How come the North Africans conquered Spain while the Abyssinians, the Habash, conquered what's it called, Yemen and Arabia, while the Somalis had
Madagascar,
they had Mozambique and Maldives. Mozambique and Maldives as colonies, the Ajuran and the Abyssinians, the Axumites had. Why was it only these three groups?
And Somalis also had
why
some
was it
parts
these
of
groups
Ethiopia.
that conquered outside? Why is that the case, do you think?
Well, maybe because of
is it not so obvious?
Wait.
How can people be just this myopic?
Hold on.
They are bordering countries.
Hold on. Let me answer that. So, Dr. R, I think conquering other lands, is based in needs. Because like the Europeans, most of the conquering is about the goods and trading. So most of the African tribes.
The point I'm trying to make, my brother.
Hold on. African tribes we're talking about didn't have the need to go meet other people for resources. They have everything they need for their, for their living.
Yeah, that's why they're docile.
So the environment, tamed them.
Yeah.
If I can add to that, Afrodamus. So here's the thing where I feel like some people are not getting it in terms of the whole thing. So when it comes, let's not use the concept of docile as if it's a natural selection, because I really don't believe that. So it could be a lack of information, or things like that, or a lack of people valuing themselves of who they are. So that's why I really do view what docile is. It has nothing to do with selection or natural selection. And the second thing is, Europeans, when they came to Africa, or the reason why they even came to Africa, is because it was because of a lot of the rich resources that was being written about. Mansa Musa was a prime example. A Muslim king from West Africa was so wealthy in gold that he went and really almost destroyed the Egyptian economy, went to Mecca, and just for pilgrim hajj. That was written about him. And
Right.
when that was written about him, the Europeans literally saw how wealthy Africa is. You know what I mean? Just in the
But that's what
the
I'm
terms.
saying.
But it has to be a historical context is what I'm saying. So
But
most
Mansa
people, they
Musa
just
wasted his money. Can I say something about Mansa Musa? He should have used that money to benefit his people.
I disagree, because the way you're viewing,
Let's not hold on. Let's not shift to that.
Okay.
I have two new people that came in. I'll have them talk, and then we'll do, the last round and close it. So we have Josie Goldback and we have Kuch. Is it Kuch? So we have Josie Gold. Josie Gold, what do you want to say?
Okay. Yeah, look, I have to defend Bantus a bit here. Like, I think everyone was just talking. Maybe I'm not sure what happened in East Africa, but in Southern Africa, Bantus were not docile. It took a long time for British people to defeat, like, to defeat like what people would know as Bantus. Sure, we're not 100% Bantu, but the Bantu part was the more dominant part of our culture and our history. So when the people say we're docile, I disagree. It took a long time for like the British to defeat us, and we fought 2 colonial powers. That's something that many Africans didn't do. So in terms of all Bantus being docile, no, many were not. Maybe in East Africa, maybe that might be true, but in Southern Africa, no. Yeah,
Brother,
that's all I have to say.
I'm gonna have to jump in. See, I think I'm not gonna say all Bantus, but majority of the Bantus, the whole see, if you look at Southern Africa, or if you look at South Africa itself, it was an apartheid state for a long time. You fell inferior to the white men. The white men subjugated the black.
I don't know what Josie
In
God's
your own,
even talking
in
about.
South Africa, there were beaches where it said white only, restaurants where it said white only, houses where it said white people can only rent. How is it in South? I'm telling you, in Somalia, if they tried this, they will have bullets up their ass. There is no way a white man's gonna come to Somalia and is gonna say that beach only belongs to the white man. He learned from history.
Yeah, but here's where the difference. Here's where the difference is. Look,
But Josie God, why are you being dishonest? Like, I can name you countless countries.
My point. Let me finish my point.
Let him finish his point.
Here's where the deal is. Here's where the deal is. One, white people are not trying to settle there. In Southern Africa, they were trying to settle there. Two, militarily, they were militarily, they were far more superior. So first, they had to defeat these people, which took hundreds of years, especially against the Xhosa speakers, the 2 large Bantu groups in Southern Africa, not just in South Africa. It took 100 years. One of the Bantu groups, the Zulu people, actually defeated the British, which shocked the world at that time. Because if you compare them to other Africans in West Africa and East Africa, they were much smaller and they were not as advanced, but they managed to defeat them. Sure, the British came back and defeated them. And then you talk about apartheid. Look, man, I'm not denying that they lost, or people lost, but they were not docile. They had to lose, and they had to have a stronger military to do that, meaning weapons and guns. So when you say they're docile, I disagree with you.
See, again, you are correct about you made a point about Africans not being docile. I hate to agree again with the Mogadishu music guy. It's subjective docility.
Selective. You mean selective?
Yeah, selective. That's the word. Yeah.
Okay.
Again, I'm going to make another point where I said,
hold on. Allow Coach to say something too. Coach, go ahead.
Welcome, brother, from South Sudan.
Oh my God.
Is this Kush?
Did I said I am from South Sudan?
Yes, your accent. I know South Sudanese, bro.
Hold on, Dr. K.
Oh, okay.
Dr. K, why are you starting problems? The man just walked in the panel.
Because he knows me very well.
Kush, oh, okay. Kush,
I know you.
Kush, where are you from?
I'm from Sudan.
From Sudan.
South. Yeah. Are you talking about South?
South Sudan
He's South
or
Sudanese.
North Sudan?
He's not North Sudanese. He's South Sudanese.
Hold on.
What tribe are you?
Let the man talk. Let the man talk, guys.
I am a Sudanese.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So what do you think about this topic here?
Yeah, I think there is some people who made a good point, but some it look like they just running around without pointing into the main point of discussions. What I mean by that is we go back to some tribe who are inferior.
More docile,
Docile
and inferior compared to others in Africa.
Yeah, but I think most of African tribes are the same. Yeah, that is my opinion. Which tribe
when you say the same, what do you mean by the same?
Yeah, because those who were taken to slavery is not because they like it, but because they were defeated.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. And those ideas of
Sudan,
slavery
a
even
tribe that beat themselves.
Which tribe?
I'm gonna put a video in 5 minutes, but there's a tribe in
No,
Sudan.
no,
It's one
just
of the
yeah,
Nilotic tribes. They beat themselves so that the Arab. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. Arab, before Islam, Arab used to come for, for trade. Okay, that was before Islam.
That's
And
true.
if we go back before Islam, or even before Christianity, we can go back to what we mean by Nubian. And if we talk about Nubian, okay, which people in Africa were powerful before Nubian? And where are Nubian? Are in Sudan, right? We talk about the Kush now, Kushitic or whatever. Who will say they are Kushitic? And who give them that name? If Somalians are saying, okay, yeah, we are Kushitic, are they in Sudan? Because the land of Kush is in Sudan.
I think again the mispronunciation is wrong. The word Kushitic and the kingdom of Kush, you're getting it mixed up. Secondly, I was going to talk about another point.
No.
I'll get back to that point. Secondly, I was going to talk about the second point where South Sudanese people are getting hunted down by North Sudanese because you're not Arab enough. Yes or wrong? Am I wrong or right? North Sudan is killing your people. North Sudan is killing your people because you don't look Arabic at all. And the guy that was in charge, the previous...
the Sudanese are not Arab. Okay, whether it's in the eastern side, let me tell you, whether it's in the eastern side, which are Bija, or are in the western side, where there is Darfurian today, or in the south.
Brother, you not have the Rashidun Arabs in your country, yes or no?
Hold on, more. You said who are
what?
You said
do you not have the Arab? Okay,
more,
go ahead.
wait. You said the western side.
Eastern side, like East Sudan, Eastern Sudan. Okay, like, there is a tribe there, are called Bija. Bija, yeah. Those Bija tribe,
they're Cushitic group,
Somalians are part of those people even.
No, Somalis are not Beja.
No.
Yeah, because you don't know what you are talking about. You don't know even your history.
Guys, let him talk.
If you see Adandawa Eben or you see Bini Amer, can you differentiate them between them and Somalian?
Yes.
Of course.
No.
Yes, you can. Somalis are averagely taller than Afars and Bejat. We're taller than them. And we have more unique features than the other Cushitic groups. You can easily recognize Somalia and others.
So are you saying that Beja are Cushitic?
Beja are Cushitic, yes, but you can recognize among Cushitic people.
Okay.
Okay, if they are Cushitic,
guys, what are the time?
If they are Cushitic, they are not in that land. Okay.
Point. The Beja, the Afars, and Somalis are genetically very closely linked to each other. He does have a point compared to other African groups. So, same with. So he has a point there.
But I was gonna make another point, brother.
Because they don't know really. They don't know about the history of Africa.
Brother, you guys were not about the history of Africa. You guys were Nubians. The Arabs came through Egypt, went down towards Sudan, conquered you people. What's it called? Created half-breeds, and the people that didn't look like you guys or speak the Arabic language, they chased you to the south. Yes or no? That's the simple story of it. You guys speak Arabic because they conquered you. That's simple truth. How are you gonna tell me I don't know my history when you speak Arabic?
You should tell what people look like.
Okay, speaking language doesn't mean that you are.
Don't get me wrong. I speak Arabic, but only for the reasoning of the religion. You speak Arabic because that's the only language you know.
Because the country, when it was given, like when independence was given to Sudan,
conquered.
It was given to Arab. Okay.
Okay. So
and other tribe.
Hold on.
And then the system was in Arabic. Okay. The system, was in Arabic.
Brother,
the same thing. You can go back even like you can go to Ethiopia. You get Amharic. Using what a national language. Okay.
Wait, not all Habashas are Semitic.
National language.
Okay, guys.
There's a difference. Not all Habashas are Semitic. Just the Tigrinians and the Amharas.
More 1 second.
Yeah. So the language of Ethiopian is what?
Kush, we'll allow you to speak, but real quick, let's allow Mimi, a West African, to talk too. Okay, Mimi, welcome in the house.
Greetings, Afro-Diamonds. Thanks for having me. I'm not going to be talking about this because I was in and out, but I see that Cameroonian guy, they're saying, coming over there saying, hey, Gambians, good for you guys to come this far, but we beat you. First of all, I want to say I'm so proud of the Gambians. They did very well. This is our first time in African, and we went to semifinals. They think they were going to come, and we're going to be out the first time.
Quarterfinals.
Yeah, quarterfinals, whatever, but we did very well. But why do Cameroon have to bring all these old people, though? These people have been playing all their life. I don't think it's a fair play.
Don't cry. So Mimi, about the topic. Are you here for the topic?
I was in and out though. I'm not into it too much. I'm just having fun listening to everybody. But nice panel.
Okay, we'll put you in the back here in a sec. Hey, Coach, are you there?
I need to add something. I think some of the things people are saying here that they don't seem to understand.
Yes.
That the so-called Bantu that they seem to be talking down at is that these people had empires too. Like the Songhai Empire is quite large, probably bigger than whatever Egypt occupied, and the so-called Aksum Empire. And
but that doesn't explain the
how large
docility
West Africa is. No, it has nothing to do with the docility aspect. Is that they fought a war with a group of people that are more interested in that region, and they did what they did. If you look at the numbers in that region, if they did the same, if they wanted this in the East Africa, they would have taken East Africa too. It's not because
you mean the Bantus?
If the English wanted East Africa and they wanted to occupy it, they wouldn't occupy it. They can occupy it today.
The whole they did.
If they wanted to occupy Somalia, they will occupy Somalia.
They tried.
Correct. That's incorrect. We fought the English for 200 years. They understood that we cannot invade and conquer Somalia.
Yeah, that's why I've been fighting wars for 20-something years. That's half of it.
Because we don't accept it. We're not as docile as you people.
They colonized.
We're talking about that's what you've been fighting. See, you have been. That's the reason why. Listen. That's the reason why you guys have been enslaved, because you accept that mentality. We don't. We're fighting till this day because of that reason.
More. Let him talk. More.
Stretchy, man.
You are fighting yourselves. You're not fighting the foreigners.
Let him
talking as if they are fighting foreigners. You are fighting yourselves. That's the difference. You are acting as if you're all smart and all. You all got
just like the Nigerian tribes always fight. Just like the Ghanaian tribes always fight.
Let him talk.
Just stop it. I think I'm getting fed up of hearing children talk about things they don't really understand. You are talking about a people that were conquered and they were subjugated. Just as much as your people are also the same. Your people are the one you are doing right now is fighting yourself, not the so-called powers that you are talking about. You're not fighting. The war in Somalia wasn't about fighting Americans or the UK or the French. It was yourselves you were fighting for how many years now? Going to 30 years or so. So let's not start. There's blame to go around, and this type of talk where you start calling one other set of Africans, and those Africans you are mentioning right now, you see how short-sighted this is. These are the majority groups on that continent. You are talking to like that.
Tunya, you think so?
But Tunaja,
on that side.
You
are talking nonsense. These are people. They are not here to heal. They are here to talk complete garbage, and that they don't even truly understand.
Let me ask you a question to Niger, please. So why is everyone in this panel? Yeah, very quick question. Why is everyone in this panel? The only countries that were not colonized is Ethiopia, Liberia, and maybe Sierra Leone. Somalia was colonized by Britain and Italy. So why
again? Okay, Liberia. Not all of Somalia, only the southern part.
Okay, no, all of Somalia. Because if you're going to use the protectorate thing, bro,
if you know the word protectorate, you'll understand it was not colonized,
bro. Again, if you're going to use the protectorate thing, Uganda and West Kenya was not.
Well, technically, part of Gambia was protectorate. Right, it wasn't colonized.
So you can't say it was a protectorate.
Yeah, we technically we were not colonized. It was a protectorate.
Okay, so protectorate and colonization are not the same thing.
Same.
Do you guys even know what the term colonization is?
Exactly my point.
If you look at hold on, let me finish more. If you look at the term colonization, right, is usually when an outside force takes over a land or a territory and they basically changed their language, their values in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? So if
Okay,
any
fine,
place, because for example, America was colonized,
guys,
China was
hold on,
colonized,
guys.
all
Let's
these
not
places.
change this. Hold on, give me a sec.
Yeah, let's not change
Let's not
this.
change it to this. Give me a second. Let's allow someone else to talk. CI letter training. Welcome
Mr.
to the show.
Research.
Oh, Mr. Research. Welcome to the show. I haven't talked to you in a while. Thanks for coming.
Been very busy. So this is why I always talk about history. So let me ask a very simple question.
Go for it.
Before the Queen of Sheba, who was the ruler? Can anybody tell me on the panel?
You mean before the Queen of Sheba in Ethiopia?
She was not Ethiopia, actually. She was on the Yemen side of the water.
Okay.
But she controlled.
She was Ethiopian.
But she controlled. I'm telling you where her throne was. But she controlled Punt. She controlled Cush. So who came before her?
She did not control Punt.
She didn't control Punt. If you
Okay,
have ever
Hold on, guys.
I'm glad you said
Let's
that.
let him finish.
No,
let him finish. Let him finish.
So since you jumped off the mic to say that, who was the leader of Punt when she reigned?
Can I answer this?
Yeah.
No. I only want the answer of the person who,
let him finish.
jumped off their mic to say
Can
that
I answer it?
Correct.
Are you gonna let me answer this? Okay, this is what I was gonna say. There's no recollected information of who the queen was of that time.
You see,
but what I'm going to say is no Ethiopian or no Habasha ruled Punt, which was modern day Somalia. I can guarantee you that.
You see? Yeah. So this proves the point of the person who said you got a bunch of people saying stuff, and when you give them the microphone, they can't prove their theory. They just give you another speech.
Okay, misprove my theory then.
Stop right here.
You talk a lot. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mr. Research, finish it. Yeah.
Wait. I'm going to give you guys the microphone. I haven't had a chance to speak yet. Most of you guys have to speak.
Bro, please just go ahead.
When you interrupt to tell somebody that they're incorrect and you cannot provide proof, I'm giving you a name, a timeline, where her throne was, and what she controlled. All you have to do is give me superior evidence, just like as if we were in college and you were talking to your to the rest of your classmates. You can't do that. Your thing is believe me because I say so. The lady controlled the entire Horn, the entire land of God.
True.
Okay. Her brother before him, her brother before her, 15-year-old brother, controlled everything until she got him removed. So my point in coming up here to just say this, there are a lot of things that happen in history before many of these religions came to be. And it proves the theory of this title. I'm going to stick to the title. Other people have come in and told cousins, brothers, that they are now enemies. Other people have come and, hey, to the person said, where's my evidence? I just gave you the actual name and the timeline of the person's reign. So think before you type. So think before you type. You should go look up the evidence so you don't have to ask questions.
Research. Can I say something? Can I say something?
Wait.
No, y'all want the microphone.
Mr. Research. So what is your take on, as far as the docility go?
That's my point.
Yeah, like how is this connected?
And that's what I was getting to. As it relates to the title,
if you can make it quick, that'll be
okay. 5 more seconds. As it relates to the title, we have several points in history where other people have come in to divide the brothers and cousins of that land.
So are you saying the Africans, Bantu, Western? Are you trying to say they are related? Because you do realize we are not the same groups of people. We are not even the same at all.
At one point in time, many of these were the same groups of people. So I'm going to end by saying that.
Okay.
Many of times these were the same groups of people before 800 BC and before 300 BC.
So where do you think the docility that people talk about came from?
I think what has happened is many people have allowed others to come in, either make them servants to some degree, and give them new names. We are the continent is walking around with not their original names, but names that
wait.
Yeah.
Wait. You're saying the Bantus, West Africa people, like people, we don't have our actual names.
Let's take Nigeria, for example. You know that's not the name of.
Well, there's people with, but no, I'm talking about the people with the, the names.
No. You're talking about the cultural names. So yes, you may have the cultural names, but what I'm talking about, if I come into your house and I tell your son that he is something else, and I tell your daughter she is something else, and now your grandchildren are fighting each other.
But people still rock their own names, their last names. Like my name, my last name is traced all the, like there's nothing outside Africa that has to do with it.
Afidamus, he has a point. Why is Niger called Niger, and why is Nigeria called Nigeria? And why did they just allow it to be that way? These countries are named after nigger. We know where the etymology of the word is. Latin word for black, and the Europeans named it. Yeah.
Wait.
Hold on. He made a good point, but to clarify it, a lot of countries are named after three things: either a place, either a person, a place, or people. That's how you usually see.
Yeah, but
if you see Niger, it's probably the Niger. There's a Niger River. So it's,
no,
when you see
Niger
India,
River was bro.
Guys, I'm saying.
Wait, hold on. No, Dr. K. Let me correct this. That river, the Niger River, wasn't named after white people. Let me correct this. In 1798, Mungo Park, a British guy, I think he's Scottish, but flying under the British flag, because it was the same country like this today. He was sent to go find the source of the Niger River. Europeans, because they wanted to trade, with the interior people.
Right.
So,
but what did the
wait, let me finish. I'm gonna tell you the name of that river, because it is a Mandingo. In that region, Mandingo language is what's dominant.
Okay.
So in the Mandinka language, because in that area, Bambara, all that's all offshoot of Mandinka, is called Bafing in the language, meaning Bafing. You know what's the translation of Bafing is? The Black River.
Okay.
The Black River.
Okay, then
that's what the locals, the people in that region called it.
So that's why the word was Niger River, which makes sense. Okay, fair enough.
Niger River.
Niger River, yeah, makes sense.
Niger.
You got to be more respectful.
So
man. So
what
because
you're saying
a lot of
is-
times,
so
when they use
Yo,
the
Dr. K, did you know Niger is shaped like a KFC chicken wing? If you look at the map, it's shaped like a chicken.
So what we're saying is, because something was named Mavros, which is Greek for black, if something's named Kala, which is Hindi for black, because of that, we get to Nigeria. We don't take the fact that a woman named Shaw named the place.
But Mr. Research, I understand, but we would do this history lesson another time, but for the sake of time, let's stick with the topic here.
So I guess my point about Docile is a people should not let outsiders come and rename them, period.
Okay, thank you. And guys, let's do here, give our final statements. Who wants to go first?
I will go first.
Go for it too.
I think some of the things I've heard today is that people trying to, attack people cheaply and try to score stupid points that doesn't lead anywhere. I don't even know how these will get out of bed, really. Because
But why do you want to only focus on the things you didn't like and be negative?
Because
we're all learning.
That's all I've been hearing. Isn't that what I've been hearing?
Yeah.
And people using terms that are meant to trigger other people.
Like what?
they're saying you people are stupid and you people are docile. You
Well,
Nigeria and just name it. This is a
Tunaja,
flawed.
Tunaja,
This is a flawed
I
that is
think,
meant
yeah.
to divide. You know
I
that.
think you are. I think you're being oversensitive here.
I'm
Come
just
on
calling
now.
it out for what it
No,
is. I'm not. Am I shouting? Am I
no,
triggered?
you're not.
I
But
just.
but
But I need
you're
to
looking
put
for
out for
to get
what they are doing.
offended. You're looking to
No,
get
I need to
offended.
put them where they belong. Because if people belong in the dungeon of oblivion, maybe they should. They don't. They shouldn't contribute to the discourse that people are having, trying to move forward. Because if they are there,
But
just
move
fomenting
forward
division,
to where?
move forward to be able to converse with other groups of in the continent without seeing them as rivals or enemies. That's what they call moving forward.
No,
Because
but
right now,
Tunaja,
the continent, we don't know each other.
hold on. We're having real conversation about traits that we observe. That has absolutely nothing with what you're saying. I get, you know, like you're trying to talk about
I
the
wasn't even talking
Pan-African
about you.
unity.
Why are you the one defending them? I'm not even talking
No,
about you.
no. I just want you to clear it. I know you're not talking about me, but I just want to make sure, we understand each other.
See, I'm making it clear that what I've heard today is that people are just trying to pick on other groups, like some kind of bully in a playground. Like you expect, and the sad state of affairs is that these people that are doing these things, they know full well the people that they are picking on are the majority group on that continent for a good reason. And they just seem to be tugging into the tiger's tail, hoping that they trigger this thing, arguments and passions. I don't know where they think that passion is going to go. The important thing for me is that you need to talk to people in a more sensitive way, regard their plight as something that you may have had something even worse happen to you. We talk about South Africans having some issues with this thing being colonized and all the rest, but yet on the ground right now, they probably are more successful than most African countries. And we talk about Nigerians having so and so this thing and name and all the nonsense that they like to talk about. Yet Nigerians have the largest economy on the continent and has a lot of potential. A leader that is supposed to be running for president recently is talking about recruiting a whole heap of soldiers in Nigeria. So when people say these sort of things, they need to be careful because the so-called Bantus you're talking about, they run empires that are bigger than what Egypt had, that are probably bigger than what Queen of Sheba had in terms of landmass. What do you want them to do? Occupy the whole continent? Did the Queen of Sheba occupy the whole continent? Did he come to West Africa? If they were so powerful, why didn't they go to West Africa too? Why didn't they go to South Africa?
They didn't have cell phones back then.
Because they think their power is limited. And these people, just because Europeans came and didn't the way it hit them, it didn't hit them the same way I hit other people. Somehow they are now superior. Okay. How crazy is that?
So they are not
need
superior.
To stop it. Of course, nobody is superior to the other. It's just circumstances that people are dealing with.
Okay. Thank you, to Niger. Thank you. You guys heard it. All right. We have think before you type. You're up.
All right. I don't even know where to begin, but yeah. I was hoping this place. Hopefully next time it could be more orderly, and if somebody says something, address a person, and I hope next time that person gets a chance to respond to it, vice versa. So here's my point on this whole topic. When it comes to docile and that whole type of mentality, it has nothing to do with genetics. It has nothing to do with a person as who he is, the essence of a human being. But what he has to do with is two things. One being lack of information, lack of self-awareness and who they are. That's usually what kind of an outside environment and that type of basically lack of information. And the second part is it's a psychological warfare. A lot of the Western Europeans and colonials, they use psychological warfare. Anytime they wanted to invade a place or a continent, whether it's in Africa, Europe, Asia, or in the Americas, the European colonizations, they always had two talking points. One, they used to call people savages. The indigenous people in the Native Americans in Africa, they would call them savages. And the second part, they would call them, they would say, oh, we're gonna civilize them. So that was in the 18th, 19th century, during the colonization. So that was the two talking points. One, they would call them savages. The second part, they would say, oh, we're going to civilize them. Now, fast forward to 21st century, now they're using the same talking points, but in a different method. Now, anytime they want to occupy a land, they want to steal their resources, the richness of that area, or they want to control the people, they would either call them terrorists, or they will call them, or they would say, we're going to bring them democracy. So the playbook has always been the same. You know what I mean? But, so the playbook has always been the same, but now people are not aware of that. I'm Somali, and I'm bound to, to read actual history and not always focusing on one side or the other, but just looking at it and kind of deciphering and exactly, what is the goal, what is the method. So, and now when it comes down to African countries or just people, human beings in general, I believe that if you have a country, if you have a place, the people who should occupy and control the wealth is, the indigenous, the natives. So, I mean, the gentleman that was talking, he was talking about South Africa being wealthy, but when I looked it up, the top 10 richest people in South Africa, only one of them is Black African. The rest of them is just white, people. So
Negative.
this is
okay.
Okay, you can say negative for now, but we can look at the actual, the top 10 richest South Africans, and you can confirm it or not. So, instead of saying negative, you can
Look,
maybe just. But hold on, you can finish your
look, I
thought,
live
and you
here.
can respond to me.
Yeah,
All right.
just finish.
Okay.
Just make your point. Sorry,
Yeah.
to get
So
into
Yeah,
then
you got
respond.
5 seconds. Think.
You
5
can
seconds.
respond. All right.
All
So
right, thank
the
you.
whole point is just be more educated on what actual terminology is and how it's used in the old days and how it's being used nowadays. That's pretty much what I have to say.
We'll keep that in mind. Thank you. Josie, you're up.
Yeah, again, this whole thing, the whole South Africa thing, oh no, the Bantus are docile, negative again. Because for me personally, not just for me personally, like, look, the reality is this: white people just saw South Africa and maybe even other Southern African countries as a place to live, a place that could actually thrive. Other parts of the continent, they didn't see that. West
Right.
Africa, they didn't see that because it was harsher conditions. And then maybe
Mhm.
some East African countries like the Horn, it was also harsher conditions in terms of desert and stuff like that. Southern Africa wasn't that. Southern Africa has by far more resources. Well, South Africa specifically has more resources than those countries. And the weather is also very good. So that's why they wanted to actually live here. That's why they invested more in military and in actually taking over because they actually wanted to live there. And in those places, they didn't do that because they didn't actually want to live there because of those conditions. That's why it happened here in South Africa. And two, another reason why Southern Africans are not docile because the British and the Dutch actually struggled to take control of Southern Africa. They actually had to work together in certain instances. So, and they were actually defeated here for the first time, which didn't happen in many places.
This is
Here for the
true.
first time. So that doesn't make them docile. And look, even I'll be honest, we're not 100% Bantu, but the Bantu part was the more dominant part, and I think that's what gave them the edge. People of Southern Africa, Southeast Africa, especially South Africans, the edge over many other African tribes. Thank you, Thomas. Bye.
Thank you, Josie. All right, we have Mr. Research. You're up.
Hey, thank you very much. As it relates to docile, the topic, it's all about whether people can go to your grandchildren after you die and tell them that your cousin is now the enemy. Whether they can make your grandchildren their donkeys, their mules, their servants. We got to understand, anytime I bring up history, I'm just bringing up something that is documented. If a person says, hey, that's not true, all I'm asking you to do is bring information, not a long paragraph speech on why it's not true. You got to bring some type of information, even if it's a Sanskrit from your country. Bring something, or do a YouTube video with one of your elders dictating why it's not true. But don't try to shout people down and tell people, don't talk about it, because that's why Africa's in the situation is. That's why even Americans are in the situation they are. The whole don't talk about it, only talk about what I understand theory, that's not intelligence. You have
You're
to be
absolutely
able to
right.
provide evidence. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Research. All right, we have Kush. Kush, are you there?
Yeah.
All right, your
Yes,
last
yeah, I
statement.
am here. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, yeah. Thank you for letting me in. Yeah. What I want to point out is we have to be careful sometimes when we talk about, other tribe who have been in enslaved or whatever. Even because we know very well in Africa there is no tribe who would like to take other people as a slave, for them before the ideas of a slave come from the Middle East, and it is started long time ago in the Middle East. Most those who just participate in it were working with outsider, because even in Sudan, those who participate mostly are Arab and some tribe who are Muslim, and they were working with people from the Middle East. The slavery is started by the people from the Middle East before even European come into it. Somebody talk about the people of South Sudan. Those people were not colonized by Arab. Why they speak Arabic is because, first of all, when British, came to colonize Sudan, they were not colonized by British. When British get there, they refused, and then they said, okay, we are going to join Arab. They joined Arab. When they saw Arab trying, to do what they have been doing to other African tribes, they start fighting with them. That is why you see people from the south, they just got their independence recently. It's not because of. If you go to the west, which is Darfur today, those tribes, they have kingdom. If you see like Sultan in Arabic, Sultanate Darfur is a kingdom. Before Arab come and name it Sultan, they have a kingdomship. The Fon who they occupy the Blue Nile, because now we talk about Blue Nile has, Ethiopian or something like that. Yes, part of it come from Ethiopia. But the people who, occupy this Blue Nile side are what? Are African. They have a kingdom before Arab come into Sudan.
Well,
and before even Islam.
Yeah,
We don't have a record that, the Ethiopian.
Coach, you got 5 seconds. Can you?
Yes.
It's your closing.
We don't have
please.
all those things. Okay, so those people were not really colonized by Arab. It was just joined, like people just try to be in one country. The same thing now. You go to Gambia, you get people speak, English. Right. It doesn't mean that because all of them were colonized by English. There is no English people there even today.
This is true. Well,
yeah.
Thank you.
That is what I would like to. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. Now we have Proud Koshedek.
Thank you. So what I will finish with is I'm going to stand by my point I made earlier. Those that lack history before colonialism and live in an environment of abundance and have no issues are the ones that are naturally docile. Even today, it does not matter in the future. They're always going to remain that way because that's just the natural course of history. That's what I'll finish with.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. We have Dr. K. Actually, Mo, you go first. Then Dr. K. Mo, go.
So, yeah, I'm going to say a few points. Firstly, starting off with the the Bantu rhetoric that's been going on today, and I was gonna share why I said Bantu are docile in my point of view. And the reason I say Bantu are docile, like, see, the people like Zulus are not as docile as other Bantus. They fought the British, and in some cases, they've actually beaten the British in some battles. So in that regard, I have respect for the Zulus because they fought. I can't really call some other Bantu clans within Southeast Africa docile because they never really explored the world. They never really about they never had kingdoms where they expanded out and conquered other nations and they saw the world for themselves. They were tribal people that lived in nomad ways. So so when they see outsiders for the first time, they're not gonna think of them as hostile. So I get it from that perspective. The other case I was gonna make was Mr. Research, the guy that was on earlier, where he said Sheba ruled Punt. That's incorrect information, and he gave timelines and he gave a name, which is again his opinion, nothing backed by evidence. And he said Sheba ruled Punt with no form of evidence that he pointed out. So again, you can't really tell me that I've given you evidence. I've given you a timeline and claim that to be evidence with no,
So you
with no actual
disagree.
evidence. Yeah, with no actual evidence. I have never heard in my entire life Queen of Sheba. Again, I understand the Habasha ruled Arabia, and I can even say that Queen Sheba could have been Habasha. Nobody really knows for sure, but from history, from what you can tell from history, Habasha's ruled Arabia, and she's most likely Ethiopian, just from knowing that they ruled Arabia, and knowing that the tribal tensions within the Horn of Africa, there is no way that she could have ruled Punt.
Okay.
And the final point I was going to say is on the topic itself, about Africans being docile. See, the brother before, the proud what's it called, Eritrean American?
Cushitic.
Yeah, Cushitic Eritrean American. He made a good point where he goes, if you have no history before colonization, the point that he said, I can't really put it word to word, but I understand what he said. If you really had no history before colonization, then again, you're not gonna see. You're not gonna.
Docile.
Yeah, you're gonna be docile in that respective. But if you had history before colonization, then you're more likely to fight back. You're not gonna.
You mean written history? Because everyone has a history.
Yeah, no. I mean like history of like showing might and power.
Mm-hmm.
For example, many kingdoms in Africa showed power. The Mali kingdom of West Africa, Mansa Musa, richest man that ever lived, he showed power. He showed the power of finance. The money and the gold and the influence that he had at that specific moment of time resulted in many world powers attacking his nation. And they destroyed the libraries and destroyed the kingdom that he had. Because again, he had the influence and the power of finance. Again, the whole topic of docile comes back to the point that the brother Cushitic Eritrean
the way he put it. Well,
yeah, the way he put it. And
well,
again,
thank you.
No worries, thank you.
Thank you. All right, Dr. K, go for it.
Yeah, so I want to disagree mostly with what everyone said, especially the whole, history and might and everything. The Cushitic tribes are savages by nature. Yeah, the Cushitic tribes are savages. It's not that they had the history of might. No, they just have a savage mentality. You come to Kenya, you see the Maasai, right? The Maasai believe every cow is their cow because they were there first. They don't have any history of conquering people, right? They just have that mentality in their brain that they're savage creatures. And I like that. The Bantus are just more docile because of the agriculture. Bantus are more similar, they grow things. They have a sedentary lifestyle. They want to enjoy life and just grow things. These other pastoralist groups from the, Nilotes and Cushites, they go around traveling and have to fight people in their way. So it's the savagery in their mind.
So they're used to they're used to competition.
Exactly, which results in death. It's nothing to do with kingdoms or anything. Because like I said, come to Kenya. Yeah, you come to Kenya, you see a Bantu tribe like the Kikuyus. Kikuyus have been fighting. In fact, they killed every single slaver that came through. They never enslaved anyone, and they never allowed themselves to be enslaved. Anytime they encountered outsiders, they just killed them. And these are the same people that fought for Kenyan freedom against the British. They're a Bantu group. Sure, they're mixed with some Kushites like I am, but it's nothing to do with history or anything like that. Simply just
the nature.
Yeah, it's exactly nature. These pastoralist groups are fighters and savages. The Bantu groups are a little bit nicer and whatever you want to see. Now, my final point is this. People keep going about Somalia. Somalia is fighting against itself, against its own so-called tribal people today. Again, the savagery. Ethiopia, same thing. Habesha people,
right?
Tigray
they're always
and Amhara,
fighting. Yeah.
fighting and killing each other. The same tribe, more or less. So again, it's nothing to do with history. It's simply the savage nature of these pastoralist groups that they can't be civilized. They are uncivilized, right? It's about civilization. Actually, Bantus today, again, you go to Kenya.
So you're saying they are not civilized? That's why they're
not
fighting?
Civilized. Exactly. Now, before that, uncivilization was how things were done. You go there, you go take a man, you kill him, you take his wife, and that savagery is what led you to succeed. However, in the modern days, civility, the ability to go and study, learn books, that's what is successful. Again, if you look at Horn of Africa, East Africa, most of the Horn African countries are shithole. You come to a country like Kenya, they're successful because they're able to learn how the nature works. So people keep focusing on the past, but the present is Horn African countries are shitholes. Exactly. Now, everybody, if you want to come see me through, I'm going to be doing a live show after this.
Wait, on your channel? Which one?
Yeah, on my channel. Let me put the link so you can share it if you could. I would really appreciate it. But yeah, it's nothing to do with what everyone's saying. Yeah, I put it on the private chat. If you could make it so that people can share it, I would love it.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's nothing to do with history. No, it's just simply the nature. Now, I'm partly Bantu and I'm partly one of these other Cushitic tribes. And you know what, right? I'm not savage and I'm not docile. What I am is cunning. I remember when I was young, there was this white guy who tried to bully me. Do you know what I did? I just stood there, I allowed him to bully me, but I went to his bicycle after school. I broke that bicycle and he knew it was me. There's nothing he could do. He never messed with me again. You see, there's that middle point of being cunning. Now, that's the sweet spot. That's the Goldilocks of docility and savagery.
Well, thank you, Dr. K. Guys, that's Dr. K's channel right there in the chat. I just put it there. Well, Dr. K, thank you for coming. I'll, find time and watch you. What's the topic going to be about?
It's a continuation of this topic.
Of this. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. I want to hear it. Okay. Thank you, Dr. K. Guys, make sure you check out Dr. K. Ladies and gentlemen, that brought us to the end of the show. Another edition of the Afridamus Report. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Every now and again, you guys know it tangent goes off to history and how great certain group of people talk about ancient greatness. And, still we have to allow all those to flourish because it is all a continuation, just like Dr. K is going to continue the show on his channel about the same topic. Make sure you pay him a visit there. But if you're new here, please make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. It looks like one person left. Hawir, can you hear me?
Yeah, bro.
Your connection was terrible, but I'll give you quick 40 seconds closing statement because I was just about to close. Go for it.
All right, thank you, bro. Thank you so much. I just want to, piggyback what Dr. K said. He was on point. It doesn't matter what the past is. Right now, today, 2022, the whole continent of Africa is a docile to China. If we keep pointing fingers at each other, oh, my tribe is superior, my tribe is this, that's not going to get us anywhere. We're on the same boat. It doesn't matter what you are. It doesn't matter Somali, Cushitic, Nailati. We all Africans.
So that's just talk, huh?
Yeah, that's just bullshit. That's just
it
talk,
means
man.
Nothing.
It means absolutely nothing. Zero. You had a kingdom 2,000 years ago. That doesn't mean shit. Today you are docile. The whole continent is docile.
Mansa Musa doesn't count, huh?
It doesn't count. That's just talk, man. That's just history is good to know. But what are you doing today? How are you competing with the world today? The whole African leaders are docile to Chinese right now. Like the recent Africa is a shithole because the whole continent is a docile. So, and we're busy over here, like pointing fingers at each other. My tribe is superior. Your tribe being enslaved. You're a docile. You're a Bantu. That doesn't mean shit, bro. Like we Africans, we black, we all in the same boat. All of us on the same boat. Horn of Africa, South Africa, West Africa, we're on the same boat. And then we need to wake the fuck up. We need to wake up and we need to unite and we need to compete with these people that are taking advantage of us, of our resources, of Africa. And as long we are busy here with that tribal mentality, we're pointing fingers at each other, we're always going to be docile. Africa's always going to be the same. That's all I wanted to say, bro.
Thank you. Thank you. You guys heard it. That was how we are. Yes, he said Africans talking about ancient glory. Some people are really into ancient glory, but I do agree. Today is what counts. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you guys know how I view the world. I care about today, like right now. What am I doing? I wasn't over there back then. But there are people that think about it and they live within that frame of mind. And I gotta respect them. Please like and subscribe to this channel and feel free to reach out via email and any topic that you think is you're interested in seeing me cover here. By all means, write to me because we would cover the topic if it's interesting enough and allow people to come and give their 2 cents on it as well. So I don't want to keep you waiting. I hope you have a wonderful Saturday, wherever you are. I'll see you guys again. Peace.